Good morning. This is JahLogic, and you're watching The Morning Rant. And with me, I have my two co-hosts, Schoolboy and VeeSmilez. What's poppin', y'all?
What's up?
Hey, good morning.
Shit, all is well. How you doing? Schoolboy, how you doing?
All's well, man. I'm getting some news from a friend of mine from way back at the moment, and I'm trying to figure out what it is.
All right. I hope it's good news. And V, how's the morning going?
It's been going so far so good. I got up a little bit early. I cooked. I cleaned.
What?
Yeah, there we
And
go.
she got that whap. That's what's up.
There we go. I'm promoting cooking and cleaning now because I do not want the babies to grow up and think that they have a good WAP and they don't have to cook and clean. So
goddamn right, you're gonna be by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, you had a great episode yesterday. You had a great show yesterday. And
yes.
That show was based on WAP, and but you took it there, unlike most people when they spoke about it. Most people just spoke about the song and spoke about, whether they liked the message or if they went too far. But in your case, you actually spoke about the whole concept behind it and actually got some hygiene facts out there for the ladies. So good job.
Yeah, we had to teach the babies. Got to teach the babies.
No doubt. Salute to you for that. That was a great show, though. I enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing more. So in case if anybody missed it, which I doubt most of us missed it, but in case you missed it, watch the rebroadcast on either Vanessa Smilez's YouTube or the Smile 69 show Smile 69 Network show on Facebook, as well as on the Ranters Union, of course, on our YouTube, and the Smile 69 show network show on YouTube as well. So pardon me if I screwed that up a little bit.
Nah, it's all good.
But let's go to these comments. HB2N says, "Morning, Ranters Union." Good morning, HB2N. Salute to you. He was in the comments going ham yesterday too.
Yeah, he was. Shout out to him.
Yeah, Lord Lee says, "Good morning," and CMOS gang. All right, that's what's up. Yo, my thing is with the CMOS is I'm so paranoid about people touching shit. I don't even want my shit pre-put, I almost got to go to Jamaica and get my own CMOS.
I've never tried actual CMOS. I've tried the gel. I don't know if that's the same thing, but I really want to try to make my own CMOS gel versus somebody already making it.
Yeah, that's my thing. Schoolboy, you trying to say something? My fault.
Yeah, man, you gotta relax, man. You gotta relax, okay? I mean, if you cook the food and start mixing it up with a bunch of other stuff, I think it kills the coronavirus. Of course, I could be wrong, but
he kills a lot.
Man. All right. Internet says, "Good morning." Good morning, Internet.
Good morning, Internet.
And HB2 is laughing. He also says show was lit last night. It did. Show was, and I'm glad that show is now on the iRant network. So thank you, V, for that.
No problem.
It is what it do, family. What it do is salute you, big bro. Good to see you all as always in the chat. Well, not as always. I feel like you're a busy man, but I'm always glad when you get to pull up, you know what I'm saying, and catch it live versus the rebroadcast. That's a good brother right there. With that being said, we still got a lot of stories that we never had a chance to really get at. But we have some new ones as well. A couple that I think is definitely well worth talking about today. So we started a little late, well, a lot of late. And but with that being said, we're going to get to this first story, and we still got these I guess you can call it police brutality type joints. And I hate to start the top of the morning with that, but reality is reality. So this comes to us from Vlad TV via AZ Family. I'm not sure what that is, but that might be some type of news in Arizona. I'm not sure. But this is about a cop holding up a black man at gunpoint while searching for a white suspect. So, of course, this shit is ridiculous as usual. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to give it some screen time for research purposes. So we're going to play this video. And then if there's anything else that we want to know, we're going to just go ahead and, watch read the article.
Is he a white male, a black male? Come on. White male. He's going to be wearing a black shirt, tan pants. Okay, turn around.
I work here.
That's fine.
Come on, man, you don't got to
step
put
this way.
in me.
Hey, listen to me. Listen. Okay?
I got my hand.
I am responding to somebody with a firearm who matches your description. You understand that? Come here.
So Tempe police are looking into the actions of this police officer this morning after this heated altercation at a Valley hotel. This is where it played out. The incident was caught on police body cam video, as you can see here. So we're told that officer was responding to a call about a man with a gun.
But, you know, Yetta, instead of looking for the suspect, who, as you heard, was described as a white man, the officer held a black hotel employee at gunpoint. So Maria is joining us live with the very latest developments, breaking down this whole thing for us. Maria, good morning to you.
Good morning. So we heard from Tempe Mayor Corey Woods through a statement saying that he is disappointed and he's disturbed by this body camera video. We are here live outside the hotel where this happened. This is the Hawthorne Suites located off Loop 101 and Southern. So again, this happened last Saturday, but we just got our hands on this body camera video overnight.
41 just told me that he went back inside. He may have hopped out the main entrance.
I told you! And why do you have my employee a black male at gunpoint? He's clearly not right.
That last voice you just heard from is the manager of this hotel. That tense exchange you heard right there, again, between the manager and the Tempe police officer who responded. He has been identified as Ronald Kurzaya. The manager had called police reporting that a white man had pulled a gun on one of his employees. It's important to note, nobody was hurt. The guns didn't even go off, but Tempe Mayor Corey Woods released a statement overnight empathizing with the employee held at gunpoint by the officer. It reads in part, "We can all imagine the horrible feelings, the humiliation and fear that the employee felt during the incident and since. This extremely regrettable incident demonstrates precisely why our council has called for the formation of a community-based public safety advisory board in Tempe." But here's the thing. This isn't the first time Officer Kurzaya has been in trouble with the department before. You may remember this body camera video from last year where police responded to a domestic violence incident, and Officer Kurzaya says that this man didn't listen to commands, so he ended up tasing a father who was holding his 1-year-old son. The Black Lives Matter movement called that excessive force. But we are learning this morning, I just got off the phone with Detective Bacon with the Tempe Police Department. He says that the officer received de-escalation training then. As for this incident, it is still under review, and he is on desk duty right now. Again, so much more to this story. We have the full statement from Corey Woods on our website, azfamily.com. Yada, Gina.
So there you have it. They were looking for a white man. They still found a way to put a black man on his knees. Schoolboy, I'll start with you with your thoughts.
Yeah, that guy's a dickhead. Like, so yeah, he really did think that holding his baby was gonna sway the police, which is unfortunate that it doesn't when you're black.
Yo, I hate us sometimes. Yo,
I'm going off of HB2N. That's his comment, and I just happen to see it.
We read the comments when they get to the screen, you know.
Right.
And I didn't want to jump the gun, but that was definitely my thoughts as well too. I was going to point that out, but let's stick to the story at hand, and then we can.
All right, so
second part.
So this black guy says, "Hey, somebody pulled a gun on me." Right? He calls the police himself and says, "Hey, some white guy pulled a gun on me." And the first thing they do is like, "Hey, let's find a nigga and put a gun on him and see what happens." I'm sure that'll help us solve the crime. That's usually how we do this shit. You know what I mean? And then the police chief, the fucked up thing about this time that's crazy to me is that when we see something on film, the people who have a job, the people who have a job to do, they always or have the job of communicating to us, always want us to be like, "Oh, don't believe what your eyes just showed you. Right. Believe what I tell you." So, right. This guy obviously shouldn't be a cop. Well, he had de-escalation training, so he should be okay. Meanwhile, he's pulling guns on people for no fucking reason.
And then did you catch the part where they said, and the guns didn't go off, so.
Yeah. Yo, I'm finna run up in your store, pull my gun out and start pointing it, but it didn't go off, so it's all good.
It's all good. Gun ain't go off. V, your mic is on Teddy Riley.
Purposely. Yeah, this shit is fucking crazy. I just think that it's unfortunate that these cops are setting themselves up now. They don't realize it, but they truly are. Because once you have a lack of trust for the justice system, then there's going to be no law and order. Then there's chaos that's going to run amok. These instances are more and more letting people not trust the police. These instances more and more are giving, people out in the streets the ammo to want to come and create revenge on police officers. And, when revenge comes, it's not going to be distinct of who's a good cop and who's a bad cop, so it's unfortunate that they're putting themselves in this position, but I think at this point they know they are. So it's a little bit weird, but I actually commend the dude who, was the hotel employee, because he wasn't a nigga bitch. He stood his ground. He put his hands up. He did not escalate the situation. So I felt like he, in a sense, saved his own life at the same time, because that hotel employee could have went about that completely differently. He could have, did the whole rah, what the fuck you doing? Or, never put his hands up, whatever the case may be. But, he put his hands up. So I felt like he thought about his own life and he thought about going home. And he knew that this very instance with this cop would not last. So I just think that essence of doing that, I think Black people need to take more looks at, because these situations are happening. It's obvious that the police are not being fair. It's obvious that the police are not, coming at us in a just way. So our main focus now is to focus on getting out of these situations in the best way. And I think that the hotel employee did that. And I think he should be suing the police department. So get that back.
Well, you know what? I think he probably will, or can. I'm not gonna say will. I don't know this man. I don't know what he's
These departments are gonna go bankrupt too.
You know what? When you sue them though, the money comes from the city.
The taxpayers, yeah.
So it don't really come from, their budget, so it doesn't phase them like you think.
But when the city goes bankrupt, then police, even they did that in New York City during the beginning of the pandemic, where they defunded the police. The police were going around like complaining about it and stuff like that. They took away, I think it was $1 million or something, like maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure the exact amount, but it was a huge amount that they were very upset about. And they said that they were going to redirect it to community fairs and stuff like that. But yeah, they're going to start to be defunded, because honestly, everything's about money, and the cities are not going to keep shelling out money for these niggas doing dumb shit. So
I think you both raised good points. My take on it is that I agree. I hope he sues. You know what I mean? I definitely hope he sues. He could definitely use the money. He's working at the hotel. You know what I mean? So he has a regular, I guess you call it a blue collar job. You know what I'm saying? So, but the trauma is, the money's not going to heal the trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like, so hate to be cheesy, but the old quote, "Money don't buy happiness" and all that. Once you're traumatized, you're traumatized. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, he do get something to help ease the pain. But that type of shit, getting a gun pulled on you, especially if you never got a gun pulled on you in life, and we don't know this guy's background, you know what I'm saying? That shit could really fuck with you. And then, of course, like you said, the mistrusting of the system. So this dude is not going to ever want to trust the system after some shit like that. Not saying that you should, but there's going to be times where you kind of have to, right? If you get in a car accident, you got to call the police. You know what I mean? You got to get a police report.
Do you? I mean, at this point, you just need a tow truck.
You need a report.
I mean, you need a report for the insurance agencies. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, I think we could speak about the second part as well. The second part is where the guy got some type of training because of something he did in the past, and what he did in the past was he was just as aggressive to somebody else, if not a little more, because he tased the person, but that person had their child in their hand, like you guys were saying. And HB2N left a comment saying that nigga thought holding his baby was going to sway them police. And yeah, I'm gonna say that in that case, he didn't do the right thing, like how you said this man did, because I clearly see in the second video that involved the same officer. And I'm not saying the officer was right, but I'm saying this dude wasn't necessarily right because he kind of put his child in harm's way.
That's what I was gonna get to. Why would you put your child in harm's way? Like, if you was about to fight a dude on the street, you gonna tell your kids like go inside, or you gonna put your kids away. But when a police officer comes and you know that they taking niggas out no matter what, like you pull your baby into it, like that's crazy.
Yeah, that was bugged out.
He was scared. That's what happened. He was scared. He didn't know what to do. I mean, everybody's not like that. Everybody don't respond to fear the same way. And it's obvious. This nigga was obviously scared out of his fucking life. Bring my babies close.
That's no excuse to put your child in harm's way, though, because as you can see, when the police approached him in his house, he didn't have his child in his hand. Then he.
Okay, so that's a big difference. If you open the door already with your child in your hand or whatever the case may be, that's one thing. But to already have this encounter with the police and then you pick your child up, like
that's like using them for a shield. You know what
I mean? Oh, that's even worse. Oh god.
Yeah. I mean, when the video came out, if this nigga was still in jail, he was probably gonna have to answer for that shit. Like, nigga, why did you pick up the baby? Explain that shit.
All right, so Lovell Ali says Arizona is beautiful. The news reporter is beautiful, but that cop has a history of fucking with black men. Plenty of cops with a history of fucking with black men. So, you know, if that was the case, you know, a lot of beautiful towns wouldn't be populated. So I firmly believe, after seeing a lot of beautiful communities, that we need to be gentrifying them shit. We need to be gentrifying, for lack of better terms, those type of communities, because there's a lot of communities out here that you don't see us at all, and those are usually like the best ones. You know what I mean? Like I went on like a little mini vacation not too long ago, and with my family, and we was in this community where I didn't see no black people, but they had all these nice places to go, hiking trails and all this shit, but they were hidden. So it was like only you had to live there to know where them shits was at. You know what I mean? So I feel like places like that, they shouldn't have a monopoly on living good. We should be pulling up on some of these places and moving into them, and you know, maybe changing the culture of those places, because that's what we do when we go places. We make it lava. So you know, Virginia Sim says peace and good morning. Peace, Slim. Good morning. Always good to see you. Keenan Kong, salute. You know what I mean? Chico says goes to show officer retaining doesn't solve the problem. That's a fact. You know what I mean? That's a fact. Laura Vell in the league says, I used to do security at a hotel. The police never thought me or any of the employees were criminals. The cop just has a hate for black men. Okay, well, that's obvious. That cop definitely was on some bullshit. HB21 says he thought he was about to go see Jesus. Wanted to hold them babies one last time. I mean, I guess if you want to give him the benefit of doubt.
Nah.
Damn.
Schoolboy?
Yeah, nah, man. Like I said, I think he was scared, man. And like I said, you don't know how people gonna react to fear, but he obviously reacted poorly.
Yeah. HB20 also says niggas be too dramatic sometimes, man. In their defense, if you're going to sue them afterwards, if you're being wrongfully detained, arrested, you know, and you're getting manhandled, you know, don't pick up the child. Don't do nothing to get yourself shot. But if somebody got a camera, get the screaming. Get the screaming, my nigga. Don't be too cool. That shit might be the difference between getting a $5,000 check and a $50,000 check.
Nigga, I'm gonna tell you like this. As soon as the police put hands on me, I'm hitting the ground, complying with everything, and screaming, I can't breathe. I mean, that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna like, if you guys see me on camera, I'm gonna be I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
They like, sir, we just have handcuffs on you.
No, I can't breathe. You need to take the handcuffs off. Listen. I'm having nightmares now. I can feel the nightmares, headaches, and all this other shit. Listen, man, I'm gonna be up in the psych's office every day after that shit. Listen, I can't sleep. I'll stop eating. Yo, I'm gonna go back on that chemical diet. Goddamn, I'm gonna lose about 50 pounds.
Oh yeah, you got it. Yo, like, this is what he looked like before the incident.
Yo, I'm gonna be looking like 50 Cent in that movie where that nigga lost all that weight. This is from the ass whipping I took from the police. Yep.
Exactly. So that's my sentiments exactly. So be dramatic. Just don't get yourself shot, but be dramatic.
You gotta be the victim dramatic. Like some niggas be like, you know, boasting out their chest, thinking that they're gonna go to war with these police officers. Nah.
Let me tell you something. That shit happened to me. I said, Jesus. I want them to know this is a God-fearing man on the
yo, that's just like a Haitian boy. Them Haitians go quick.
Oh man.
They gonna love this video. Give me my. All right, Redemption says, salute Redemption. Always great to see you, sister, in the chat as well. Virginia Sim says, was this vacation pre or post COVID? You know your scary ass don't travel nowhere. Listen, Slim, I'm not going if I got to take a plane, but if I can drive, I'm fucking with it. And then not to mention, in California, we used to have this shit called day trips where you might go somewhere that's a few hours away and take your ass home because you're only a few hours away from home. But so it was one of those type of things. Like it was more of a day trip. It was like, that's why I say mini vacation. It was a day trip, but to a nice environment. You know what I mean? Spend the day and then drive a few hours back. You know what I'm saying? So that's I do that often, you know. But yeah, Brooklyn Honcho says, what up, world? What up, Brooklyn Honcho? Salute, OG. Kalila, Grand Rising Ranters. Great show last night at VeeSmilez. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Kalila. I seen after we ended the show, I seen, oh, damn, I missed your chat too. So I seen you was on the check-in. So definitely salute to you. Always good to see you as well. And yes, it was a dope show. And good morning to you, Grand Rising. HB2N says, schoolboy baby mama right now, watching right now, doing the Birdman hand rub. I mean,
no. She's actually told me she thinks it would be better if I died. It'd be a lot easier for her. So,
whoa,
you know,
that's life.
It is what it is, man.
How the fuck she gonna get money out of that? You got a will with her in it or some shit, or
listen, man,
life insurance? Or
I think Forrest Gump said it best, and I'll leave it at that.
I don't know which quote we talking about. If it's the famous
life is like a box of chocolates.
That's one of them. That's one of them. But Mama also says, "Stupid is as stupid does."
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
All right, King So says schoolboy would have both his babies in his arms. Scary. ASL.
So I see King So is still on the bullshit. Has he mic'd up or cammed up yet?
Nah, he never
He's been talking wild shit lately.
Yeah. So keep your scary ass on that side of the screen, buddy.
Lord Vanessa is laugh out loud at schoolboy. HB2N says he's laughing at King So. Kid Murray, good morning, Kid Murray says, sound good until you get brain damage. I don't know which part you're talking about, but like I said, if you're talking about the dramatic shit, be dramatic. Just don't get hurt. You know what I'm saying? You got to use that. You got to use that type of kung fu. Use their body weight against them type of tactic, and you know what I'm saying. But at the same time, be in water, like Bruce Lee used to say. Don't be trying to just throw your hands or bugging the fuck out, but scream for Black Jesus as long as the cameras is rolling. You know what I'm saying? Don't get shot. King Khan says excessive force will definitely be used on schoolboy. Well, you know he's big, he's black. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna say they scared for their life.
This though, I'm gonna tell you this though, boy. Your boy Schoolboy got a little mouthpiece on him. Every time I've been in altercations with the police, everybody walks away smiling and happy. So.
And Kid Murray says, what? I mean, my thoughts exactly. I don't know what point you was talking to, but if you was talking about what we said as far as the being dramatic when the police try to lock you up wrongfully, mind you, this don't work if you were rightfully arrested. But if you were wrongfully arrested, go ahead, feel free to be dramatic, but don't get yourself hurt. There's a fine line. Keenan says excessive. Okay, we already read that one. And Kalila said, you called the right one at Jah. Salute. And HB2N says, King, so you taking me out, everybody. Hey, hold on. You taking me out, everybody going. I'm not sure what quote that's from, but salute. And Ish is what happened, school?
No, I think he was saying that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. All right. And Chico's laughing. King Soul says, nigga scoop back looking like Terrell Suge's twin brother. Nigga got his face on the lens. Goddamn, nigga back up. And there you go. Hemp Lord says, good morning, fam. Good morning, Hemp Lord. Salute to you. Light up. You know what I mean? You already know. Virginia Sim says, schoolboy, I love my baby mother. I'll never let her go. And that's a DMX quote. and it says that officer actually said you fit the description. Shaking my head. Yeah, he did. He did. He actually said he fit the description of a white male. Shit is crazy. That's how used they are of just, you know what I mean? What's the word? Profiling us.
But this is past policing now. This is just on, you know, some Ku Klux Klan type shit.
Yeah.
Yo, remember though that a lot of people are saying that white supremacy is a religion, and if that's true, then that's what we just witnessed. We witnessed him trying to get into religion mode. He was about to go to church on that black man.
He was. Kid Murray says, if you be dramatic, you're going to get brain damage. Okay, so we were talking about this thing. So I don't know how, but maybe like I said, don't be dramatic in the sense where you got them feeling like you're fighting them. You know what I'm saying? But you know, scream. Go ahead, feel free to scream, man.
It's an outcry.
Black Lives Matter, nigga. Scream. They got the cameras rolling, scream. Nigga. Brooklyn Hunter says, pause, schoolboy. And Kid Murray's laughing. And Virginia Slim has a comment, and it didn't register with the program yet, but I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna throw it on the screen when it registers with the program. And he says, this goes to all of us at the panel. Have you ever had crazy incidents with the cops? And I started to tell you about one of mine, but I'll let you guys start first. Schoolboy.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, V. Schoolboy, your mic is on Teddy Riley.
So I'm here in Charlottesville. This is actually a decent police encounter. So I'm in Charlottesville, and I think I might have told you, Logic, about this, but I used to do some bouncing out here. Long story short, I was asked to leave a bar for no real reason, and I was pissed about it. So, I was leaving, but I was like, yo, the guy was like, I'm gonna call the police. And I was like, okay, well, when you call the police, I'll be here. So when the police got there, I was like, so tell me and the police why you kicking me out, because he didn't really have a reason, and he couldn't look me in my face.
Right.
And I just for some reason it just enraged me. So boy, I cussed him out from the top of the floor to the bottom floor. I talked about his mama and everything. And the police were just like, oh, no, shh, it's all right. Just come this way with us. I was like, all right, yeah, cool. Let's go this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cussed his ass out, though. Matter of fact, I cussed his ass out so bad that it was dead quiet in the room. And then when I was leaving, everybody was like,
oh, shit.
Pure white people shit. You know what I mean?
Niggas gave Schoolboy a standing ovation. So is that is that the craziest ever got, or?
Yeah, like I said, I myself, because of the way I talk, and a cop really don't want to have to go toe to toe with me and be tussling and shit with me, trying to get me all in handcuffs and shit. So I'm pretty sure they think about that shit before they decide, we're gonna brutalize this nigga, because I look like I might actually sue afterwards. So
right. V.
I really don't have any crazy encounters with the police. I've had instances where I've had to check friends of mine, like when I was driving down Atlantic, when I first brought my car. When I graduated from college, I moved back up to New York, and I brought my car back up to New York, and my car had Florida plates. And I had gotten pulled over on Atlantic in Saratoga coming down. And, I guess he said I was speeding or whatever the case may be at the time. And he, took my ID and my license, and, he went back. It was me and my homegirl coming back from the club. And, he took my license. He went in the back, and here go my homegirl off at the mouth. Why the fuck he pulling us over? This is some bullshit. He don't have no right. I said, bitch, shut the fuck up. I cursed her out in that car. I was more upset at her than a goddamn policeman, because I felt like she was putting our lives at risk, you know. But she was going off, and she was acting like a straight up hood rat. And the police officer, he came back. He was very nice. He was just like, he actually gave me a warning, and I was just like, well, I apologize, and I went about my business. It was nothing really crazy that happened with the police officer. But my instance is like, I get upset when Black people act out of order unnecessarily. Like, this man just asked me for my ID and registration. Like, that's all he asked for, so it wasn't anything serious or anything crazy that had happened. But I had to curse her ass out, because like, you don't do shit like that. And I know the police officer, like, he definitely heard something. Like, I'm pretty sure, because she didn't even let him fully walk away from the car before she started talking all that shit. And I'm like, Bitch, you sitting in the passenger seat. You ain't driving. This ain't your car. This ain't your insurance. This ain't nothing. Like, come on. And if I get a ticket, it's going to be on me. So, you know. Yeah. And me and her ended up not being friends much later after, not after that situation, but like a year or two after that, we stopped being friends. But that was an instance where I just could not tolerate, you know, people amping up situations. So great encounter with the police, but terrible encounter with a hood rat.
I get it, but at the same time, I think they wanted to hear the police brutality stories.
No, I haven't been brutalized by the police. No,
they want to hear you get slammed on your chest.
Nah, but I'm definitely crying. I'm crying rape though, for sure. I'm like, yo, he's touching my boobs, he's touching my ass. Like and that happens a lot with. I feel like a lot of police officers, they do attack females in certain instances because they want to get free fills. I really feel that way.
Yeah. So HB2N says homegirl would have been walking home. And he also says V was in the drop top having the girls blowing in the wind. And Antoinette says, I had an undercover cop pull a gun out on me for beeping my horn at him to go at a stop sign.
Wow.
But I unfortunately had many situations, but one that probably the latest and the craziest one. But before I get into mine and answer my question, we got Steph pulled up. So Steph, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
So just to kind of throw you directly in the mix, I believe it was Virginia Slim asked the panel, have we ever had any crazy incidents with the cops? So I'm gonna go ahead and just pose that question to you before I answer, you know, with my story.
You mean like police brutality or like just a crazy story?
I mean, I think they're going at police brutality, but at the same time, he just said crazy incidents. So if you had any crazy incidents you think is noteworthy, feel free to let us know.
Well, not to me particularly, but when I was a teenager, I was about 16. My homeboy is 15. We were staying in. It was poverty. We were living in poverty. Little rundown apartments. We sitting on the porch chilling. SWAT come out the bushes. Boom, running up on them, and they pick my partner up, and one of the cop officers bam him down. Right. His mom come out, you know, everybody panicking, and then just for them to find out he was the wrong dude. But
right,
you know, but he fit the description, dark skin, dreads. That was enough.
Right. So we just finished watching a story where the description was a white male, and they still put the gun to a black man. So that prompted this discussion. You know, with me, I guess if this was a low key survey, I guess we would have to say 1 out of every 4 of us have a crazier story, because the stories you guys have are not really that crazy. With all due respect, you know what I mean? It's I mean, I'm sure that it was still nerve-wracking at the moment, but I don't think it's anything that, you know, to go marching about, right?
I'm about to say I ain't traumatized or nothing. Just shit.
Right, yeah. But I'm gonna say, me personally, I had a few stories, and the latest or last one, which is one that I actually sued over, which I probably could have sued over shit in the past, but I didn't, because I was young, didn't even think about it. But I know I told you guys that I worked with the youth before. I know I told you that I worked with the youth in prison and juvenile facilities and all that. So Rikers Island is a place that you can go to in New York once you're of a certain age. You know what I mean? But they separate the youth from the adults. You know what I mean? And that's where you go before you do your bid. I say that to say this. So I used to do some of my workshops on Rikers Island as well. It wasn't just for juvenile facilities. And I'm gonna watch how I say this story, because like I said, I beat the case, and then I also sued them. So I don't want to, you know, go ahead and say anything too crazy that might come back to bite me in the ass. But one day I went to do my workshop in Rikers Island, and it's all gonna be relevant. You're gonna see why. I went to do my workshop in Rikers Island, which you have to have a certain ID, like a service provider type ID from Rikers Island. Say, look, you know, I basically work out of there. You know what I mean? So that ID has helped me in certain scenarios too. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, it's been times where I went through a like, what do you call this shit? A road check with a checkpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when they scrutinize you and shit like that, and I've been able to get me and my cousin through, you know what I mean, in 2 different cars, just because I'm like, hey, you know, I work at Rikers or whatever. But anyway, so Early that day, I went to do my workshop at Rikers with the youth. After that, I went to a community center in Brooklyn to do another workshop with young fathers, where we used to work out with the young fathers. You know what I'm saying? And do life skill workshops, but then incorporate that into like actually let's go to the gym in the community center, and you know what I'm saying. So, with that being said, and then I had my gym clothes on at this point. I didn't have the same workshops that the outfit I had on for the workshops. You know what I'm saying? So after that, me and my cousin who helped me with that particular workshop, we went and had a meeting about my first film, right? Because he was in the film. He was one of the people that was involved with the marketing of the film. And we had a meeting about it. And, after that, I went and drove him back to his part of Queens at the time. He was living in Queens. And some people may know of Queens Village, which is a pretty, it goes down out there. But at the same time, there are a lot of parts of Queens Village where it's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So he was in one of the parts that was pretty chill. And I just drove him home, literally. Mind you, I told you what my day consists of. Workshops with the youth, business meeting. Now I'm taking my cousin home. And as I'm in front of his house, literally a house, on a block full of houses, there's no projects over here, nothing like that. They just pull up behind us. Now, at this point, this is my cousin. Now, I know black people like to say, everybody, oh, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. Everybody's black people cousin. No, this is my brother's father's son. You understand what I'm saying? This is my blood relative. So if something happens to me or him, and we have one of those families that you're going to be held accountable. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying that just to say that I would have let him rock and deal with the police by himself if I didn't have that type of family. But at the same time, yeah, like we had that type of family. I can't explain to my uncle or my father or my aunts why I let him deal with the police by himself. So at that moment, we didn't separate. We stayed in the car. They turned on the light. We weren't doing shit. You know what I'm saying? We weren't doing shit. And at that point, they came to the car. And I'm gonna escalate the story. I don't want to, go too deep. And eventually, my cousin will probably do a show on this network, and we'll probably explore it a little more. But the conversation went from them just harassing us to us being like, "Yo, what's going on? Like, why?" Like he was telling them, "I live right here." I'm telling them, "Look, like, why are you pulling me over?" Even though I was already pulled over. They're talking about there's a lot of cars stolen in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? You run the plates, you see that it's not a stolen car. What's the problem? You know what I mean? So so what I did was I also gave them the Rikers Island ID, especially when they was talking that cars are being stolen in the neighborhood shit, right? So this is when you talk about the racism being like a religion. This is when I knew I had one of those cops. I mean, I had a feeling, but at this point, the cop takes my Rikers Island ID, looks at it, and says, "What is this supposed to mean?" And then tries to break it. Mind you, it's a fucking ID. It's not. So he tries to break it. It don't do shit but bend it a little bit. But he tried to break it. That's how angry the fact that I work with youth in Rikers Island made this cop. You know what I mean? He was angry at that shit. So then he throws it up. He throws the ID back at me or whatever. And my cousin says, I can prove that I live here or whatever. He goes to get his mail. And when he went to get the mail, him and a cop get into another argument because he's telling the cop, "I want your information." At that point, the argument turns into a wrestling match. You know what I mean? I get out the car because you're not about to kill my cousin in front of me. You know what I'm saying? While I'm in the car, because obviously it could have led to an actual shooting. The guy was hand on the gun and all that, but then it turned into a little bit of a scuffle or whatever. So I got in the middle of it. You know what I mean? I didn't, you know what I mean? As civil as you can get in the middle of an actual scuffle. You know what I'm saying? And now the other cop jumps in. So now it's all four of us rolling around the fucking grass. You know what I'm saying? And then it went from the grass to the steps. And then I kind of made sure my thing wasn't, I wasn't there to I wasn't there to put hands on them. I was just there to prevent my cousin from dying. You know what I'm saying? So then at that point, my cousin was able to break free. He gets in the house. I get arrested. They throw me in a car. You know what I'm saying? And then my cousin comes out in, a dress shirts because we going to court after this. You know what I mean? So we go to court. We fight the shit for a year just to say, okay, you had no reason to arrest them. You know what I mean? And I also want to add that the cop said when we was in the car, "I bet you won't be doing that job anymore." You know what I mean? So he knew he was taking me out of that line of work. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's a story I had. My nigga Keenan says, wrap it up, Logic. Hey man, somebody asked, and that's my story, my nigga, and it's my show. So I'm gonna tell my fucking story. So that's how that's gonna go. But yeah, that's my story. You know what I'm saying? That's my story. And yeah. Y'all all on Teddy Riley right now. And we have Casey Gain in the building as well.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling? Grand Rising?
Well, Grand Rising, all is well. So
y'all look way more lit than me. I mean, literally. I might have to move myself. It's still dark out here in California, so I got that natural light. So I don't mind. At least y'all can't see how really crazy I look in this light. So
it's all good. Speaking of that, the nigga King, not King. So what's the homie name? My man Hemp Lord said he's smoking on that Jack Herrera this morning, which is, I love that strain. I definitely had that strain in the past. You know what I mean? So salute to him. And I just wanted to say that because that was a chat that I ran. Got the
Jelly's where it's at right now in Cali.
That's what's up. All right. So yeah, so I think we done here. I think I read all the comments. Miss Ravioli says, I got you. Steph was saying he ain't traumatized or nothing.
That's the part she stumbled upon.
Lord.
And Lorvell in the league said, I definitely want to hear your cousin tell his side of the story, Ja. Yeah, my cousin is a great storyteller. He's going to be more long-winded than me. I feel like he's been a little bit more traumatized from the situation than I. You know what I'm saying? He definitely went to, like a schoolboy said, he would be going to all types of doctors and all that. He definitely did all that. You know what I'm saying?
He got the fucking bag too. Shit.
Well, that's another story because you know, eventually he wasn't feeling the lawyers that I found, and he wanted to go the pro se route, I believe it's called.
No, nigga.
Yes, he did. He went pro se, and you know, he started getting on his. That's when he found his indigenous.
Bruh, don't tell me he went up in there looking for the bag, talking about he's an original man from this goddamn land and shit like that.
He did.
That man, he went up in there talking about some you can't judge me. This isn't maritime law. And they was like, all right, fuck it, man. We got some barnacles and some shrimp casings. Would you like that shit?
Salute to my cousin. He'll tell his story on his own. So we'll salute to the cousin. But he definitely went that route and it didn't pan out. I'll just say that much. Yeah, so Mills Lane says, I get PTSD about my cop run-ins. I need to return to vacation. Yeah, man. What I did do is when I got my bag, I hosted my first retreat. Well, not the first one I ever will host, but the one that I was actually behind. So I rented out this like big mansion in California and had a lot of friends come visit, and we did workshops and all that, and it was lovely. So that's what I did. You know what I mean, with my bread. Well, partially. That's some of the shit I did with my bread. But anyway, yeah. But I got mines, but he didn't necessarily get his. And one of the things that helped me get mine was to say, you kept me out of work. You know what I mean? You kept me fighting a whole court case for a year, knowing that I work with youth. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to reimburse me for this year on top of what I went through. So, that's what helped me out. Anyway, so this next story is a story we should have been spoke about. And it happened in Rochester. And it was a gentleman who was high, and the police approached him, but of course with no regards to his life, and it turned deadly. So I'm gonna play the video, and then we're gonna go to an update of the actual story. And the video contains graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised, as it says on the video.
New calls for justice from the family of Daniel Prude, a man who died in the custody of the Rochester Police Department back in March. The circumstances around his death are under new scrutiny.
I sympathize with the family because I too, when I saw the video, was very disturbed. I see something here and I disagree with it, and we're going to do everything that we can to hold someone accountable.
Attorneys for Prude's family providing CNN with edited body cam footage of the March 23rd incident that shows different angles of what happened. The video starts with police arriving on the scene after Prude's brother called them, saying Prude was experiencing a mental health episode. The footage shows an officer approach Prude, who was on the street naked.
Get on the ground. Put your hands behind your back. Behind your back.
Yes,
don't
sir.
move.
Yes,
don't move.
Yes,
Chill
sir.
out, man. Don't move, all right, man?
Yes,
Just don't
sir.
move.
Yes, sir.
Prude complies with the officer's request and is then handcuffed.
Are you Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Daniel Prude?
Please let me get my money.
Daniel Prude?
Moments later, the footage shows Prude visibly agitated for several minutes, yelling at officers and moving around on the pavement.
Jesus Christ, I pray, man. Let me go back. Give me them handcuffs, bro.
Then, 3 minutes after the initial encounter, officers place a spit sock over Prude's head to minimize exposure after they say he was spitting. It distresses Prude further.
Yo, get the away from me. And Jesus.
He continues moving on the ground with the spit sock on his head, and the officers demand he lay still.
Give me the gun.
Stay
Give
down.
me the gun. Give me the handcuff.
Stay
Give
down.
me the handcuff.
And when he does not comply and appears to try to stand, 3 officers get on the ground to physically restrain him and hold him to the ground.
I mean,
I'm already in.
trying to kill me.
One officer has his knee on Prude's back, and the other is holding his head to the pavement while the spit sock remains on his head.
Another officer can be seen putting his weight on Prude's head, who appears to be struggling to breathe. During the struggle, the officers realize Prude is spitting and appears to have vomited. Soon after, the paramedics begin to assist.
It's freezing out here. He's been out naked for 30 minutes.
He feels pretty cold.
The EMTs instruct the officers to roll him over.
Oh, no.
Start CPR.
After performing CPR for about 2 minutes, Prude is placed on a gurney and put in the ambulance. Prude was pronounced brain dead upon arriving at the hospital and died on March 30th. The autopsy report ruled Prude's death a homicide caused by complications of asphyxia in the setting of a physical restraint. The report further cites excited delirium and acute intoxication by phencyclidine, or the drug PCP, for contributing factors. The New York Attorney General announcing an independent investigation has begun, promising transparency and accountability. Prude's family is demanding the officers involved be fired and charged with murder.
The man is defenseless, butt naked on the ground. He's cuffed up already. I mean, come on. How many more brothers got to die for society to understand that this needs to stop?
So that's the end of that video. And
This year, we are all students.
as somebody said in the comments, that was a little hard to watch. That wasn't the original video. The original video was a lot more disturbing because it was just the situation. And I'm not going to get into the next article that I have pulled up with it, but I do want to say that the Rochester mayor, who you've seen on that video, has since fired the police chief over their handling of Mr. Prude's death. I'm going to let you guys speak on it, and then I'll speak through my thoughts on the situation, and we'll, of course, go to the comments, and we'll start with Schoolboy. Schoolboy, what's your thoughts on Daniel Prude's death?
So, did you guys see at the very end there the way the cop that was on his head? He literally had all his body weight and both his hands on that man's head, and he was like on his toes on the ground, like in a tripod. So his hands were on that man's head, and his feet were behind him, and he was pushing all his weight into this man's head. Now, you know, are black people's heads made out of something that doesn't break? Like, he probably cracked his fucking skull. Not only that, like his father said, two things. It was snowing. You got this man face down on the cold pavement for 30 minutes, according to them. Why would you keep that man on the ground like that for so long? Of course he's uncomfortable. Then you put the spit cover over his head and put him back on the ground, and you all jump on his back. And, yo, please believe me when I say this, because I keep seeing this shit over and over again. When those police dogpile you, they're not trying to keep you down on the ground. If you watch, they're trying to push the air out of your body. But if they do that, then they can say, well, he just died. You know, it's asphyxiation. We were trying to hold him down. He died. But that's just, you know, they just didn't put their hands around his neck. But they definitely pushed the air out of his body and killed this man. and just sit there and act like it's all good. This man's pushing his head down like this man's head is so strong that it could kill these cops if it raised up off the ground.
And you raise a good point about that as well, because you know, speaking of like racism and the roots of it, and historically, one of the things that they taught Europeans is that the indigenous and or African males that they use for slave labor and all that were not human, but were scientifically different from the European in a way where we were supposed to be more, you know, brute. You know what I'm saying? We were animal-like. We had a different skeleton and all of that. That's what they actually taught them. You know what I mean? And I believe that there's a lot of them who still believe that, especially the ones who believe they're the superior man.
It's interesting that you say that, because there was a study done by one of these Ivy League schools that found that like some enormous number of doctors actually believe that black people don't feel the pinpricks of the needles as much as white people do. That they're not at that black people don't feel pain the same way, so they shouldn't get pain medicines. I've had to go to doctors and be like, listen, if my daughter's saying she's in pain, give her pain medicine. Don't sit here and act like it's not a big fucking deal.
Right. Yeah, so they definitely do. Ooh. I've heard of that. I've definitely heard of that as well. V, thoughts? Your mic is on, Teddy, right?
There we go. I just but yeah, I was just gonna say, like, my thing is this: like, you guys are trying to now act like you're reviving him after the fact. Like, to me, that's some bullshit, because the damage is already done. Like, where was those actions like when all of this was happening? Like, no one cared about this man's life as you guys were putting pressure on practically his entire body. So I just think that that's truly messed up, and I think that they sometimes, when they realize how fucked up they've done shit, they try to create a conscience, and they try to come back and try to, you know, act like they're, you know, saving him just so it can look good. But in the midst of this shit, these niggas is they're on a rampage right now. So, and they definitely killed that man.
I agree. Casey, you want to speak on this? I know you probably are familiar with the story.
Yeah, that situation, I'm gonna be a little contrary. It seemed like that dude was wilding out, crazy on the street, naked with his dick out. His own family called the police on him, right? So there's a lot of situations which is way worse in terms of police brutality, where police is running up in people's cribs, no not warrant, killing the wrong person. It seemed like initially they're trying to make stuff work out. And let me say this, cops is not trained to deal with mentally ill people. We have a government that is making cops deal with situations they're not trained, equipped, or should even be dealing with. So they put in a situation where they deal with force. Police are trained to deal with situations with force. They have a mentally insane person on PCP, on all these drugs, wilding out. You know what I mean? It wasn't proper how they did the stuff on the neck, but again, they're not getting trained. I feel if all the people getting killed in the wild situations by cops, or even in our own community, black, I didn't know dude was black. This is a very on the low line. This seems more like an accident. This seems drug problem, mental insanity. He's wilding out. If his family knew how the cops was, right, maybe they should have tried to handle the situation themselves. But they obviously were so threatened by him acting crazy that they felt to bring in the police. So I feel like all the police brutality situations, you want to focus on all the problems in the community. This is like an accident. This is cops fucking up and needed to learn from it. But I don't think they murdered him or killed him. They didn't come. When you murder or kill someone, it's like, yeah, I'm going to go to this dude's crib and kill him. Not I'm going to go try and fix the situation. It gets out of hand. I be acting the wrong way. So I don't know. I don't know about in terms of outrage or anything like this. This is very low on my outrage scale.
We respect all opinions here. You know what I mean? However, I do want to address a couple things you said about the family. I don't remember if it was the family I called the cops.
It was the brother. They say the brother called, same brother in the beginning of the video. You can watch it again.
Okay, so what I would say about that is when somebody is high off of dust, PCP, water, sherm, whatever, you have to call the police, I believe, if you want them to get to the ambulance, because they have to assist them getting in the ambulance, right? Because the ambulance can't deal with because that shit gives you like supernatural strength a little bit. I ain't gonna front. Like you'll do some dumb shit. Like I've seen people do like real dumb shit off of that you be like, this thing ain't killed himself yet, banging his head in the shit and all that. So with that being said, they probably needed them he probably called, I'm advocating for the brother now, to get him to get to the hospital versus dying in the street, being naked in the winter.
Yo, I'll be honest. Yesterday, when I went to get the coffee early in the morning, 4 in the morning, LA. This is tweaker hours at the coffee spot. So it's just cops there, and there was this dude tweaking, and he was just tweaking around me. And I just kept moving around him. And honestly, I was grateful that the cops was there because this dude is tweaking, and not that, sometimes you don't know what these people are gonna do. They're gonna go out of hand, wild out, like.
Right. I won't correct myself.
I'm not saying the cops wasn't fucked up on what they did, but in terms of my outrage scale, in terms of like 4-year-old girls getting killed by stray bullets because kids is violent in the street, in terms of gang violence, in terms of real police brutality where police is corrupt and really targeted assassination on people, this is just like, it seemed like a repeat, like black people just want to keep on getting mad over black people getting dying in the streets and not getting justice and completing the cycle. And it's like, again, it's a repeat.
Okay, I heard you. Your point is valid when you say your outrage scale, right? I was just saying, I wanted to correct myself when I said winter. It wasn't winter, obviously. We're not in winter yet, but it was snowing for some reason. But that's your
March. No, it might have been like late March, and in Rochester, winter lasts through April. So it was winter.
Okay.
It was winter.
But with that being said, that's your opinion. I'll give mine later. I don't want to just be countering you. But Steph, your thoughts?
Yeah, this video is hard to watch. It's disturbing, and no disrespect to Casey, but I completely disagree. So last I checked was a life is a life, and second most importantly, like they're not used to dealing with people on drugs, because this is not a mental health issue. This is someone on drugs. If I recall, they don't handle people who are opioids like this. Or is it in the wrong community? But I remember them not having a problem locking up crackheads just a generation ago. And like, so you can't pick and choose and say, oh, they're not equipped to handle it because they've been handling it. They've been doing it. They've been doing this. This is not new. This ain't something that came out of nowhere. This is something they already knew. They knew they were gonna be physical with this man. They already knew from the jump. Like literally, a tactic from the Black Panther Party is when they were approached by cops who were armed and ready to shoot, they would come out butt naked, because now you don't have a reason to shoot. Literally, that was a tactic, and this man is butt naked. He cannot do anything. You already have him handcuffed and muzzled. There's nothing else.
Yeah, that's the part that fucked with me. You know what I mean? The fact that they put a little, like a muzzle, like you said, that's like damn near a muzzle. Or they call it a spit guard or whatever the fuck they was calling it, but that's a fucking muzzle, right?
Hey, man, you can put little nice names on shit, but it is what it is.
Right. So my thoughts on, well, let me go to the comments first. I like to go to the comments before I even talk about my thoughts. Ms. Ravioli says, rethink the situation, Jah. The officers were upset. He was maintaining control. She's talking about my situation. When you presented that ID, abusers get upset when their control begins slipping away. I hear you. I did rethink that situation plenty of times. There are maybe 1 or 2 things I would have did different, but handing them my ID to let them know I'm not a criminal, in fact, I'm a community advocate, was not what I would have did different. You know what I mean? That's what I would have did the same. That's one of the things I definitely would have did the same. And I don't regret making sure the police didn't kill my cousin, because I believe if it was any type of different scenario, they probably would have killed him. You know what I mean? Because it looked like it was going that way a couple times. Redemption Song says, disturbing. Mental health professionals should be deployed to assist for these type of calls. Why the fuck was he still naked? That's a good point as well. They could have put at least a claw, like some type of sheet on him or something. You know what I mean? Internet shaking her head. And Aki Betha, I think he agrees with Casey. Too bad Casey got up, but he says, so another dusthead died. Next story, please. I don't agree with that. I agree with Steph when he says a life is a life. You know what I mean? And the thing about dust is that person, when they're not smoking dust, could be the coolest motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at it as just another dusthead died. You know what I mean? But I think that guy's kind of agreeing with Casey's sense of non-outrage. Nah, okay, wait, what did you say, Casey? You don't agree with that?
No, don't blame me like that. Obviously, any life, whether it be someone on drugs or something like that, but in terms of situations, of, you know, real outrage when we're having 7-year-old kids being hit by stray bullets, and we're having, you know, kids savagely kill other people. Real incidents of targeted police violence, where police caught up in the drug game is carrying out target assassinations. Incidents like this, and a life is always a life, you know what I mean? But the same thing is people die every day. So how come when people die by the cops, if he would have OD'd, would anybody care? Would it have been on the news? Would have been the dust said? But it seems like Black Lives Matter when they're killed by cops. But if they're killed by drug addiction, other Black people, you know what I'm saying, obesity, they don't matter at all, right? Because it's a narrative that the Black Lives Matter movement, other people have, like Black people are always the victim of cops. So they need to keep finding these situations to keep going, to keep with that narrative.
But what you're saying is you're comparing someone dying of self-infliction, be it diabetes or poor diet and stuff,
overdoses,
overdoses, opposed to someone murdering them.
Car accident. I wouldn't call that murder. I would call that manslaughter, if anything.
You take it out my hands. You take my life choices out my hands. You ended it right then. Judge, jury, convict.
Murder is me coming up because I don't like you shooting you in your head. Murder is not your brother calling me to come help you. You wilding out. I feel scared and I kick you and you die. That's not murder to me. And there are mad examples of cops murdering Black people. That's not an example to me. They acted wrong. They did the wrong tactics.
So that's not what happened.
Okay.
That's not what happened.
Okay.
No, that's not what happened. So what happened was they came and 3 men approached a naked man in the weather on the ground and then jumped on top of him and put something over his head. That's what happened.
They got
That's
the coronavirus out there, right? I mean, and that meth is messed up. But let's say this meth head got coronavirus. He coughs and spits all over these cops and they die. Where's the outrage there? So that face thing is fucked up. But I think they're probably using that because of the COVID.
Okay. Just because these are men in costumes doesn't make their actions any different. If the 3 of us approached that same naked man and jumped on top of him, he died afterwards, we'd be in jail.
Away with it. They might not snitch on us, right? If there's just mad murders in Chicago where 80% of murders in Chicago do not get solved. So if we
we're talking about Rochester, New York. We're talking about Rochester, New York.
And you have a lot of meth heads all over the news. Yes, Buffalo, all upstate New York, all in the rural areas of Long Island, all in Staten Island. There's meth towns all over New York, and they are not handled in that way. They even went on a national campaign. Even Trump talked about this. Oh, we're going to save, our community. We're going to stand against drugs. Like, they've turned this into a help situation, not necessarily where they're killing people now. That shit was unnecessary. No matter what they thought he had mentally, no matter what kind of drugs they thought he was on mentally, that shit is unfortunate. And if that was a white person, they would have not handled it in that way.
Right now, there is a major drug issue in the white community. The opioid is, and it's true, they're not getting locked up, but they're dying. They're dying. They're dying at a very high rate.
They're not dying because police officers are killing them.
But they're killing themselves, is what I'm saying.
But they're not dying because police officers killed them. If that guy did not encounter those police officers that day, he wouldn't have died.
So if they had a naked dude, if there's a naked dude on the street wilding out in front of your kids, acting up, wilding out, saying crazy things, you wouldn't call the police
I'm taking my kids away from that. I'm taking my kids away from that.
I remember when I was like
that shit happens in New York all the time.
Yeah, I remember I was like 10 and I was just walking down Beach Channel Drive with my mom and my little brother. We seen that same shit. That's his life.
That shit happens all the time, especially in New York City. Like, you encounter a crazy person at least 2 times a week, and I'm being very nice and gracious.
The dick out and everything.
Yeah, dicks out.
A dick out every day. You got a dick out every day. Every day there's a dick out.
Niggas
that's crazy.
Asking you for money with one hand and they dick.
I kind of homeless people. I have not seen a homeless dick in Los Angeles in the 6 months I've been here, and they deep out here. They're not whipping their dicks out though. I'll be real.
Yeah, no, you can see you got different type of homeless people in different places. New York
where you at?
I'm in Brooklyn. They crazy.
Long story short,
I'm just saying.
Long story short, if 3 men in fucking clown costumes ran up on that same guy, put a spit hood on him, and then sat on his back for 5 minutes until he had no more air and he died, we'd be in trouble. Those cops deserve to be in trouble.
You might be because your people snitch. My peoples don't snitch. I'll do that shit I'll get away with it because my people don't.
So you're acknowledging that it's wrong because
of course,
what happened, it'd be wrong.
Of course. That's what I said. My outrage scale. I'm outraged. I'm not here outraged.
All right, we're not going to debate if he should be outraged too much longer, but I think everybody got. I think everybody got most of their points out, and I still didn't get to most of the comments and all my point. But in regards to the what you guys were just talking about, HB2N says Chicago got a lot of dick out homeless. So there you go. Let me go back up to these comments and yeah. So Virginia Slim says abolish qualified immunity. Redemption song says agreed, Slim. Miss Ravioli says a spit sock. So do I get to throw a spit sock on an officer that's spitting on the ground every time I answer with educated responses? And I know it's rhetorical, but I'm gonna answer it. And you know the answer to that is a resounding hell no. Mills Lane says 4 cops versus one handcuffed man on drugs. They can't think more cleverly than restrict breathing. I agree with that. That's bugged out. They definitely could have handled it in a lot of other ways. Laura Vanna Lee said, did the other officers get fired? So we know that the police chief was fired. And apparently, according to FoxNews.com, they say the Rochester mayor, Lovely Warren, fired police chief LaRon Singletary, which LaRon sounds like a black person, so I don't know. And suspended her top lawyer and communications director in the aftermath of Prude's death. After the footage was made public, 7 officers who were present during the encounter with Prude were suspended without pay. Protesters have called for criminal charges against the officers and are demanding that Warren resign herself. So there's that.
I find that crazy, but you go ahead, Logic. Get you.
Which part?
I don't know.
No, you fired the chief,
right,
who wasn't there. Who, I mean, he or she didn't fire them. Which, okay, you fired that person, but then the people who actually did it only get suspended. That to me, that seems backwards. But
I hear you. Virginia Sim says Casey sound like he's desensitized to cops killing black men.
Can I respond to that comment? That's a very smart and accurate comment. Back in 2008, I started a black news website called News One, and one of the first things I found that people would react to and that would make news would be videos. And this was like first when the cell phone era started, of black people being beaten and stories of black people being killed, especially black men. So I have seen a lot of it. I'm not desensitized. I realize the value of life, but I also am not desensitized to the lives of black people who are killed by black on black crime or urban gun violence or however you want to call it, which is 10, 20 times more than the lives killed by the police. I'm not desensitized to the violence in Libya where our government kills black people, but there's no outrage on our hand, where our government and our black president Obama turned Libya into a slave state while continuing to bomb other countries, killing little Trayvon Martins every second. So I'm not desensitized. I know what's going on. I just realize there's a lot of stuff to be outraged about in this world, and I try and keep things in perspective.
All right, fair enough. Ralph Garcia, master of ceremonies. Salute, Ralph, the big bro. Says checking in. Good to see you, man. I'm glad you're checking in this morning. And Miss Ravioli says, yep, at schoolboy, I had a tumor the size of a sweet pea while pregnant. Doctors did not properly address the tumor until it reached the size of a pot roast. They believe black women do not feel pain. And I'm going to speak to that a little later, but schoolboy, if you want to say something, you can. Teddy Riley, Mike's on Teddy Riley.
Yeah, so no, absolutely. I live next to a big hospital, medical facility, and I've dealt closely with a lot of people who work at that hospital. It's a well-known fact in this area that those people are elitist. So just imagine if the white people here feel like those people don't really care about them, imagine how the black people have to feel. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, a lot of the medical professionals A lot of the medical professionals do the same shit. You come in there, you tell them about your issues, they discredit it, or they what do you call it? Minimize it, and it's causing problems.
Right. Let me see. Sorry. Kind of skipped over some things. Redemption said, agreed, Steph. Hemp Law says, stay safe, stay dangerous. And hold on. King So says, they got you wearing muzzles too. Wake up. And Miss Ravioli says, Steph, a life is a life when one believes the subject is human. To an abuser, the subject is not human, which also goes to my point earlier. They scientifically thought, spiritually and scientifically thought, that African and or indigenous peoples were not human, and there's still a lot of them who believe that ideology didn't go anywhere. It's just covert now. JJ says, good morning, fam. After being handcuffed and muzzled, why didn't they just pick him up and put him in a car? Your guess is as good as mine, Jay. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I would expect. And at the same time, they should have put him in a car and waited for the ambulance to get there, because that's what they were supposed to do. They were just supposed to help the ambulance get him to the hospital. They weren't necessarily, you're not supposed to take a naked person high off a PCP into the jail cell. You're supposed to send them to the hospital, and then you can, do the criminal stuff after. King Soul says, a life isn't a life. Everybody doesn't value their life the same. Therefore, they can't be and won't be treated the same. LeBron should be treated as the same as Dante West. There's levels to this shit. So you bring it to sports. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, they should be treated the same. But I agree that a life is a life. But I do agree that some people throw their own life away. But being high doesn't mean you threw your life away. You know what I mean?
You just made a bad choice.
Just made a bad choice. And not to mention, some people get laced with PCP. Some people don't even know that they're smoking a blunt that had PCP in the bud. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that was the case here. I'm just saying. I know I've seen it happen plenty of times in my hood where somebody will have a good future, seemingly good future, and then next thing you know, they fucked up. And the story around the hood is, oh yeah, they smoke weed with the wrong niggas, and them niggas fucked their life up. But go ahead, Steph.
No, the reason I say a life is a life, and you compare LeBron James to Delonte West. If Delonte West was doing what LeBron James was doing, Delonte West would be getting LeBron James treatment. See, it's also production. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't leave that out. Also, we're talking about a life, not not your pay. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever monetary things that may come along with it. You're talking about actual living. And I like, even though the owners may not value Delonte West, I'm pretty sure they're not, yeah, we don't need this nigga, let's kill him. I'm pretty sure that's not what they said.
Right. And let's just really quick, and I don't want to go too far with the trolling, but King So says, what? Getting high off dust isn't throwing your life away? ? What the fuck? Did anybody hear me say that? Or is this nigga not listening? I said that it's not. I literally said it's not throwing your life away.
I would like to say, to your incident logic, that's very true. I had a friend in my new neighborhood named Craig, and we were over here by Normandy, and there was an incident where a Mexican guy came up and he's hollering at my other friend Smokey, and my friend Smokey got in the car with the Mexican dude, right, thinking he was smoking a regular blunt, and then my friend Smokey wound up being in a chicken coop on meth. So it is a very common incident where you do have black men from neighborhoods who do smoke meth blunts and go crazy and wound up in chicken coops. I will agree.
I can't tell if you're joking or not, because you're bringing up Friday, but I know people personally who were, playing sports. They just smoke weed, but they were like on their way to greatness, and now they're asking for change. You know what I mean? And their mind is not there. Like, I know people personally. I know people who were just good people, and next thing you know, they were fucked up because people just didn't like them being good. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I was just on your lace blunt. It was just a lace blunt joke. I know, of course, I've seen drugs definitely turn really good people, and then continue to be really good people, but have different opportunities. Like people who might have had a bright life in sports, or really smart, or had opportunities in music, and then do the drugs kind of. So that is one thing to say, is like, at one point in time, Delonte West might have been like LeBron James. He might have been on a path to be a great NBA player, but because of the drugs,
Right, but my point wasn't necessarily that just them doing the job. My point is sometimes people force that in you, like you think you smoking weed.
Yeah,
that's
why I brought up Smokey.
Right. But that shit, even in that sense, though, there's a lot of truth in just right. There's a lot of truth in jokes. So,
of course, that's based on real life. Of course,
yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at. So let me see. I read this already. And King So says, I agree with Casey. I don't know where else come from, but I agree with King So says, I agree with Casey. First story in AZ had a black mayor. Rochester, they got a black officials firing the cops. It don't matter where you at. Shit is crazy everywhere. It just is what it is. I don't know if that was what Casey's point was, but sure. Redemption says San Francisco recently moved to have mental health professionals respond to these calls. I think it's a great idea. Emergency response team. And I mean, in New York, that's what I've seen. I've seen when people are high off dust and all that shit, and they're bugging the fuck out, because not everybody bugs the fuck out on dust. Some people just, they just ride the high off and talk shit, right? But when I've seen people bug the fuck out on that shit, the ambulance usually comes. You know what I'm saying? Along with the police, and the police just assist them getting into the ambulance. HB2N says RP Gaddafi, based on what you were saying earlier, Casey. Brooklyn Honcho says craziness is more normal nowadays than normal. How will we ever survive? I mean, if we really look at, history has always been crazy. So I like to remind myself of that. Like, there are people that have going through crazy shit way before we got here. So I think we will survive, creator will it. JJ says, if I was walking with my pit bull down the street and it got loose and viciously attacked someone, I would get charged and the dog would be put down. Good point. Mills Lane says Rodney King's incident should have been taught in school. The first of 30 years worth of recorded police brutality. That's a dope concept, and I think it's still not too late, Mills. So as someone who created my own curriculums, you might could create that as a curriculum and maybe at least get hired by nonprofits to teach that to young people. So you might want to think about that. Mr. Arioli says KC, that's a ground beef queen. Here she go with this ground beef queen shit. As a ground beef queen, I witnessed a crackhead jacking off multiple times a day in the establishment on the property's lawn. Oh, wow. On the bus stop bench, to my knowledge, Zone 6 APD has not killed him. And King Soul says, what? Okay, yeah, we read that already. He said, did y'all hear this, fool? Yeah, we heard that you don't listen. And if I did say my words a little, if I did stutter over my words, let me reiterate. So smoking leak or Sherm or whatever is not throwing your life away, as I said earlier. And it's just like Vanessa said earlier, when I said that earlier, it's just a mistake. You know what I mean? It's just a bad decision, rather. I think you said, right, V? I think you said it's a bad decision they made.
Yeah. Bad choices all the time, and I don't think that people should have to die because of people making bad choices. And as long as I feel like someone's not murdering someone else, they don't deserve to die. There you
go. HB2N said, excuse me, they said that's what happened to Rapper Little B. He did some PCP on accident and then turned into the base guard. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. King So says he just want to argue with everything I say. The thing is, King, so I'll be really a lot of times I'm really fair with you. I always start from a fresh slate every show, you know what I'm saying? However, King, so you got to understand that everyone's watching the same show you're watching, and just like the comment that came up after you, Redemption said you're misrepresenting his words. So you got to understand that everybody sees the bullshit. So it would be in my favor to announce the bullshit when I see the bullshit, especially when directed at me. So anyway, Brooklyn Honcho says, hold on. Okay, shit's acting crazy, but Brooklyn Honcho says a lot of foul niggas have lace girls blunts too. Oh wow, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
it does happen.
Yeah, my mouse is acting crazy on me. But yeah, here we go. All right. There we go. A lot of foul niggas have lace girls blunts just to hit it. So that's a good point too. So people can be laced by accident. is my point. Mr. Ravioli says that King saw life is not a life when one can begin to see a subject as human. Black skin may be viewed as a coat for wool, scales, etc., as opposed to human skin. And Redemption says she's laughing at me. I don't know what part I said, but I'm glad you got a kick out of it. And Brooklyn Honcho says even geniuses have vices. Facts. And Chris Jones, Salute Outlaw, says good morning and top of the rant, people. Salute to you. Good morning, bro. And King So says, unfortunately, in life, there are pawns and there's kings. You can choose to be who you want. Unfortunately, the pawns must go. Pawns turn into kings, sir. So I don't know if you play chess. All of the pieces on the board could make it to the end and become a king. So, but you have to make it through. You can't get cut down, you know, to make it through.
But if you watch the metaphor in The Wire is that it is really hard for a pawn to become a king. That's the kind of metaphor at the end. If you watch the beginning with Bodie playing with D'Angelo and Wallace, and then if you watch at the end when Bodie's having that same conversation with McNulty before he goes to snitch, right? The whole setup and kind of what you're saying is a bit of you're born into what you is, and if you're a real smart ass pawn, the best pawn you can become it. But if you're a regular pawn, you wiped, and that's the kind of thing. Rather than if you're born a king, you good. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of thing about society, and that's why like some people are born into situations where they're more likely to become a dust head, and it's just if they're born into poverty, if they're lacking a parent, if they have mental issues. You know what I mean? So it's not like necessarily they just chose their life away when they smoke dust. Because I know kids who had good parents, good education. They might have smoked crack once or twice as a joke, and they still went on to doing good schools and everything like that. So people aren't necessarily throwing their life away, because I know a lot of rich people who stayed rich and have very safe lives after doing hard drugs like PCP, meth, coke, etc.
Right. All right. Muhammad, salute. He's on the check-in. King So says, everybody go watch episode 34 and watch episode 35 as well while you at it. And King So, I'm not going to continue to read your comments if you just want to argue with me. You know what I'm saying? But I am trying to be fair. Shaharia says, good morning. Good morning, Shaharia. Good morning, Shaharia. Everybody make sure you check out Silence Kill, the domestic violence show on the channel. King So says, but when I comment on the weekend shows or last night, everybody was agreeing with me. Sir, nobody agrees with you. So says, exactly, you could be cut down. That's going to happen regardless. And Shari also says, Miss Ravioli, stay coming through with the wisdom.
Yes.
And Kid Murray's clapping it up. And Keenan Khan says, most techies in Silicon Valley microdose on hallucinogens daily.
Yes.
That's a fact. So what I wanted to say, because I never got my point across on the situation, is that like you guys spoke about, opioids in other communities are a big problem. Even heroin in some of these communities is a big problem, right?
I mean, it's an opioid.
Yeah, it's an opioid. But, you know, I know when they can't get the pills, they end up turning to the heroin and all that. And there's all types of contingencies in place to keep them safe, right? So if they're overdosing on heroin or opioids and they're vomiting and all this shit like they say Homeboy was doing, they make sure that they put them on their side. They got all these, because they got these pens, that these needles that they shoot them up with to make sure they don't die. They hand them out free in these communities. They got all types of things in place to make sure they don't die when they're coming from let's just call it what it is, a predominantly white neighborhood, and they're on these opioids and or hallucinogens. But when we get high, we're not looked at as human, like Miss Ravioli said. We're looked at as superhuman, or like we have superhuman strength, but without the humanity. You know what I'm saying? So they can put a bag over your head. They can put their knees on your back. They can take the air out of you. You know what I mean? They can do all of these, they can violate you because they don't give a fuck about your life. Now, you can't convince me that if they gave a fuck about his life, that they wouldn't have found a way to save it. You know what I mean? Or to preserve it, because he wasn't even dead. He was just high. He wasn't having convulsions or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I think that the cops are totally wrong in this scenario. I hope they do get fired. And that's my take on it. And we're going to go to these comments before we move on. King Soul is still talking to me. I had something different to say. Listen, people have something different to say all the time. You know what I mean? I don't argue with them. HB2N says, can you imagine doing crack as a joke? I don't know if y'all remember this, but back when I was young, I don't know how old everybody is. I think Schoolboy is close to my age. I'm a little older than V. There was a commercial and like some type of, and I don't know if it was a PSA or something like that. And maybe if somebody remembers it, it was a video where they forced a child to do crack. Does anybody remember this shit?
What?
Yeah, they forced the child to do, there was some type of PSA, you know.
Oh, I thought you was going to talk about the cracking of the eggs. Like, this is your brain on drugs. Like, I thought.
No, it was some type of PSA. Be scared of the drug dealers in your neighborhood. I'm not a chicken, you're a turkey type PSA commercial, but it was based on crack, and they forced the kid to smoke crack. I'll never forget that shit. I was like, yo, what the fuck am I watching? You know what I'm saying?
And I just want to address that myth just for a small second. No one really gets forced into doing drugs, because people who already do drugs, they like their drugs. And most of the time that they don't want to share. Like, nobody's going to get forced into smoking weed, because people like their weed. They want to smoke as much weed as they can, or people like their heroin, or people pay money for it. So forcing other people to do drugs, that's a huge myth, I believe.
Smoking crack as a joke is nuts. But to what Vanessa was just saying, like, they do this PSAs every year. Hey, check your kids' candy on Halloween. You never know, they putting drugs in it. Like, who is giving away free drugs? That is not how you run a business. I just don't. I never got that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a lot more stories to get to, so I'm gonna try to move on. But I'm gonna go to the comments because I like making sure the comments are read. King Soul says, I don't care about you reading. I'm in the chat room. You just like reading a lot and hearing yourself. All right. So basically, if you're saying you don't want me to read your comments, I'll accept that challenge. And Redemption takes my sentiments right out of my mouth. She says, King Soul, god damn, move on. So there you go. And Muhammad Ishkar says, this reminds me of Richard Pryor putting coke on his dick to stay erect. Unfortunately, he was poisoning Eartha Kitt. What's so bad is he didn't even listen to her, and she still had sex with him. I don't know that story. So yeah. And Redemption says, nah, don't do that one. Go ahead, boy.
Yeah, I was just saying, Muhammad X. Shakur. I thought that was Pamela Greer.
Yeah. Pamela Greer.
Nigga say he smashed Eartha Kitt.
Yo, that's wild. That's wild that he confused the two of them. That's hilarious, by the way.
All right. Let me see.
Yo, Eartha Kitt is so old, bro. Eartha Kitt would be like 1,000. Richard Pryor.
Nah, they probably coincided. You're bugging. Richard Pryor was popping in the 70s, and Eartha Kitt was popping in the 70s. Same time. She was probably like 40.
No.
Might have been
Eartha
30.
Kitt was popping in the 70s?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Eartha Kitt is older than that.
And Batman, what was that?
What happened in the 60s?
Batman was the 60s and 70s. She was still bad in the 70s. Eartha Kitt never stopped popping. Y'all just keep on thinking of Marcus and Boomerang, so y'all think she was older her whole life. Like, Eartha Kitt was a baddie, bro.
But she was old as Drake and Boomerang. So
no, but that
was 90s, right? Think 20, 30 years before that.
Wait, real quick. Are you saying she was bad in Batman?
Yeah.
She was trash.
The TV show.
She was trash. Go ahead, Steph. Go ahead.
No, she was super sexy in Batman. You're bugging.
Boomerang came out mid to early 90s, right?
Yeah, mid 90s.
She was old as shit then. She died like 12 years later.
Right.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
She would be like, rest in peace, Eartha Kitt. I don't mean no disrespect, but she would literally be like 90 now. You know what I'm saying?
And Richard Pryor be like 80 now.
He'd be like 70.
Let me look it up. Richard Pryor, Eartha Kitt. I'm gonna have to Google all this.
Gotta do that. But let's we got enough shit to do.
Wait, did Richard Pryor die?
Long ago.
You can't be.
He died in 2005. He was born in 1940. See, when Eartha Kitt
Oh,
was probably
wow.
Eartha Kitt was
How do
born.
you not know that Richard Pryor died?
Yeah, Richard Pryor was 80.
What the hell?
Was it
Don't
80?
do
That's
that to
crazy.
me. I didn't know that. Are you serious? I know that he was sick and then he had got.
I was 13 years older than Eartha Kitt, so I think it still could have happened. And like right when he was coming up in the 70s, when she was still like maybe in 50s and still bad.
And let's remember this: Eartha Kitt and Pamela Grier in their heyday were two beautiful, amazing women. Let's not just make Eartha Kitt the butt of a joke. She was that deal in her time.
All right,
I'm gonna pull up a photo and send it to Logic. Eartha Kitt, 1970.
All right. Redemption says, no, I don't remember that one. Brooklyn Honcho says, nah, it was a joint, not the hard white that they forced him to smoke. You remember that shit? I could have sworn it was crack. I don't know. Maybe it was my kid imagination. I don't know. Keita says, man, this fucking mouse. I might have to get a new phone.
What is our next topic?
It's basically another police brutality joint, but it leads into one that we have to speak about. You know what I mean? Keenan Carl says, I miss those after school movies there. You know what I mean? Let me see. Damn, this shit like bugged out. Yeah, so and then HB2N says, actually, Steph, is very common to hand out testers to the fiends, is how you build up clients, and also weed out the feds. I don't think, but he's talking about when they claim that they're giving them
That's not forcing them to do weed. That's giving you. They still take the choice. You're not if someone give out free pizza, they're not forcing me to eat pizza. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same.
He's talking about the Halloween propaganda. The Halloween propaganda.
Okay.
But
listen. Don't nobody really go trick or treating after 10 years old, 10, 11, right? At 12, you pretty much done cut it out. So the fact that you thinking you're going to get 6 and 7-year-olds hooked onto drugs and coming back to you to buy a product, that's pretty naive. I don't think anybody's actually doing that. See what I'm saying? It's one thing. I've been around with niggas trying to give me weed, like, hey man, hey, yeah, as a tester, give me a little nickel bag or whatever, and I just hand it off to my partner. But I never smoked, so it was never a thing for me. But
drugs,
so I get that. Right.
Keenan Carl says that story wasn't in his book.
But yeah, that's that, man.
For the record, I would have smashed Eartha Kitt from yeah.
Brooke Hunter says this nigga high. I don't know which one of us he talking about. And let me see. Miss Ravioli says one can get forced into doing drugs. If Lucifer or Lucy does drugs and someone licks Lucifer / Lucy during sex, the drugs is taken unbeknownst to them.
Yeah, because that's true. Pam Grier even said that in an interview. She said that when she went to the doctor, she was tested positive for cocaine, and she had never did cocaine a day in her life. But because she was fucking the shit out of Richard Pryor, that's what happened.
Yo, so it would be appropriate to say that Pam Grier sucked the coke out of Richard Pryor's dick.
No, it was not that. It was him coming in her.
All right, guys,
She said it was him coming in her. She didn't say it was from oral sex. She said it was him coming in her.
Then they always doing coke back then, man.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. They said they found it on her cervix. That's what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. HB2 says, yeah, Eartha Kitt looked like Tessa Thompson back in the 60s. She could have got the whole Frank with relish.
In the 70s, I pulled up some pictures. She was bad in the 70s.
He is here for defending Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, my apologies. I got the wrong people mixed up. And Keenan says HB2N, the relish? What's that? Oh, y'all niggas is bugging.
I'm lost.
My Mexico says Eartha Kitt came to mind only because of poor choices and men. Okay. And it says schoolboy extra as fuck. And Kelso says, I'm gonna say that to my PO. I didn't smoke. I ate my girl after she hit the blunt. And Kim Murray says impossible. All right, so this next joint I want to speak about, and it's go ahead, Steph.
Eartha Kitt was born in 1927.
God.
So
July
even
was 40, 13 years.
that's
13-year difference.
that's a long. That seemed like a long fucking time ago. We discussing a woman whether or not she looked good or not. That just seemed creepy to me now.
Pam Grier too. Pam Grier was born a long time ago. She looked bad.
She wasn't born in the 1920s.
Hey, listen. We can go back to who my homegirl, Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker.
Oh, why are you going back so far?
Guys,
I'm a Black History buff.
that's what's up, but we gotta move on. We gotta move on. All right. This next joint right here, hate to bring it back to a police brutality joint, but trust me, it's gonna pan out towards the end. White cop charged over fatal shooting of black man at California Walmart. And this is a short video, it's only 2 minutes. And we're gonna play it and gonna analyze this. This was in San Leandro, which is, if you know California, that's the Bay Area.
It's got the latest developments, Andrea.
Yeah, I just talked with the grandmother of Stephon Taylor, Addie Kitchen, just about a half an hour ago. She says, I know you cannot see me, but can you hear me smiling? She was absolutely thrilled and relieved that these charges were filed. Now, I also talked with Kat Brooks, who is with the Anti-Police Terror Project. She's been working closely with the family on this, and her reaction to me was, whoa. She just couldn't believe that these charges were filed.
Get the bat down. Drop the bat, man. Drop the bat. Drop the bat. Shot fired. Shot fired.
The shooting happened on April 18th at Walmart on Hesperian Boulevard. Police got a call of a man waving a bat and may have been suffering a mental episode. When the officer first arrived, he ordered Taylor to put down the bat. When Taylor didn't comply, a taser was deployed twice, followed by the fatal gunshot. Today, the Alameda County District Attorney Nancy O'Malley announcing that her office has filed manslaughter charges against San Leandro police officer Jason Fletcher for killing Stephon Taylor.
A thorough review of the statement of witnesses and involved police officers, physical evidence, and the review of multiple videos of the shooting shows that at the time of the shooting, it was not reasonable to conclude Mr. Stephon Taylor posed an imminent threat of death or great bodily injury to either Officer Fletcher or to anyone else in the store.
Now, the San Leandro police chief has referred all requests for comments now to the district attorney's office. The family and its attorney are planning to formally speak on this matter tomorrow. Reporting live in San Leandro, back to you guys.
All right, so there you have it. That's one of the things I wanted to go over. That was news as of, I believe, a week ago. It's one of the things we were supposed to speak about, we didn't get to. And just like the cop, the police chief being fired, I do think is a small victory. I think this cop being charged with manslaughter is also a small victory, because I think that's more than manslaughter. But if you guys want to speak to, if you think the charge is just, him shooting the man who was mentally ill in a Walmart just for having a bat in his hand, feel free. And so I'm gonna start with you, Schoolboy. The mic is on Teddy Riley.
The reason why it's unnecessary is because we keep seeing other videos of people being taken in who have knives and guns, and this guy had a bat. Come on now, you guys got the little batons and all of that. You got pepper spray, all kind of other stuff could have been deployed before you shot this guy. So he deserves it, man. I think we just got to start charging these folks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that man deserves to do time. They handle other people of different races with kitten gloves, and they didn't. The man wasn't even coming at him with the bat. He literally just looked like he was in a daze, just standing there holding the bat. So it wasn't like he was coming at him. It wasn't like he was coming at anybody else in the store. And like the lady said in the conference, that man holding that bat did not pose a threat. At the very least, we watched, a white lady open the door with the knife coming through. Like, he wasn't even trying to hit nobody. So the fact that that officer shot him, that was an overreach. And I hope that he gets butt fucked in jail.
And he could have fucking shot somebody else in the Walmart if he missed.
Right.
That's true too. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Casey?
There was an incident back in the days I was with my cousin, and there was a crazy dude. I guess he was homeless, and he was just running around waving scissors in a crazy manner. And whatever, he came by me and I just said, excuse me. And then he came at me with the scissors. So he came at me swinging the scissors. Just I said, excuse me, I shouldn't have talked to him. I pulled out my umbrella just as like, you know what I mean, to counteract his scissors. I backed up. I tripped. He got on top of me. He goes, gotcha. But he didn't know my man was behind him with a bottle about to smash his head open. So let's say my man smashed his head open with a bottle. Would my man be supposed to be, you know what I mean? Would he be a murderer? Would he be arrest that? And again, it's another situation. I think that people's just looking for that narrative of black people being victims of police brutality, and they're not looking at the evil politicians. You know what I mean? They're not looking at the Joe Biden types. They're rallying around Joe Biden and Kamala. Same Kamala Harris who done locked up black people and put cops in these real situations where you're getting mass incarceration, which is a real problem in the black community that is not addressed, that you have a whole war on drugs where black men is getting locked up like crazy. Maybe they're not dying. They might be dying in jail, but you're not hearing about it. So I feel this is another situation just to continue the narrative of Black Lives Matter.
It's not. This has nothing to do with those narratives.
Cops, lock up the cops, justice for this guy, justice for that guy. They never get justice.
All right, let V respond.
No, Casey, that narrative has nothing to do with what happened here. That black man was standing in that. He was standing in there. He wasn't coming at anybody. He wasn't forcefully waving the bat at anybody. He was literally standing there holding the bat in his hand. He was not directing the bat towards anybody. He did not hit anybody. So the threat is the threat was non-existent. That cop had no right.
Let's say here's a hypothetical. Here's a hypothetical. No one comes. Cops don't even come. Cops don't even come. This crazy man.
The reality of what's happening. Okay. That's the reality of what happened in that video. It's no
I'm giving you a hypothetical. This is not a reality.
What's the purpose of a hypostatical question or point when you have a reality of somebody being shot?
You'll see if you listen to me.
Okay.
Good. All right, let's say hypothetically, in the world, he's waving around a bat. No cops come, no cops do nothing. He bashes a little kid in the head, bashes another little kid in the head. How would that reflect on the police?
But that's not what happened.
I'm saying hypothetically, if it did,
I'm saying
that has happened. There have been crazy people going in and
just right there is what cops use in their mind to justify to go and kill somebody, and that's the wrong way of thinking. Sometimes, if you give people the benefit of the doubt, yes, this person maybe does have mental issues. Maybe he does have he's holding the bat in his head. Maybe he could be thinking about a baseball game. He could be inspired. Nobody even knows why he was thinking about.
I almost been killed by a homeless person throwing around scissors, so it could be.
Why were you so close to the homeless person? You gotta peep crazy when you see it. When I'm walking around New York City, I see crazy people all the time. But I'm gonna walk. If I see them holding a knife in their hand, I'm gonna walk and stand right next to them.
But what about a suburban person coming to a Walmart who's not around homeless people, crazy people like that? How they gonna feel? You're around them all the time. You might know. But you're
all right.
It doesn't matter where you're from. You should know it doesn't matter where you're from. You should know where you at. I go into a lot of sundown towns all over New York City every single day at my job, and I know where I'm at when I'm in these places. And I don't act crazy, and I make it home.
We don't have the time to debate over this story between the point of views too long. I think you both got your point off, and we still didn't get Steph to hear what Steph had to say, or me, but Steph, go ahead.
No, as far as responding to what Casey was saying, can people in the chat let me know if y'all believe Casey's story about being ready to get killed by a homeless dude, but cinematically being saved in the nick of time by his homeboy? Let me know in the comments if y'all believe that. I find that hard to believe, respectfully. But secondly, I think this open and shut case. This is open and shut case. They spoke to witnesses, right? They have multiple video. Everybody has come to the conclusion that this man was guilty of what he did. But Casey says, oh, no, this ain't one of them cases. They just trying to push the narrative. No, well, sometimes the evidence is there. Sometimes it's an open and shut case. Sometimes you don't got to, you like my man Jay does say, cut the dumb shit short. It's open to rap.
My shit is, no. It's wrong. It's wrong. But in terms of all the other wrong stuff going on, like I said before, is this wrong like America bombing hundreds of innocent children in Yemen? Nah, but we're not hearing about that. Is this wrong like the BDs and GDs in Chicago kidnapping kids, killing kids left and right?
I don't care about those kids in Yemen. I care about the kids here.
because there's a narrative going on
how
that
we
is
gonna
only
help
black
young
men, black people is a victim of the cops. Not we have control over our own power. Not our government is really doing all this other stuff. And our narrative is the cops are the enemies. Joe Biden is wonderful. Kamala Harris is wonderful. Maxine Waters, all our politicians are wonderful. All our black mayors and black governors are wonderful, but it's just the bad cops. They're the ones messing with black people. And I feel like these stories keep on fueling that narrative and distracting black people from the real problem.
The reason these stories keep coming
Yo, we
up
gotta
because
get
it
to the
keep
comments
happening.
too.
It keep happening. It keeps happening. We have a whole line of we have stuff backed up that we haven't got to. It's so many stories, Casey. This is not.
Imagine if we did that between black men killing other black men. The stories would be 10 times as much. The backlog would be so much more.
Casey, you're talking about citizens killing citizens.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about. I'm not even talking about black citizens killing white citizens. I'm not even talking about that. People care about proximity, but when you talk about a person who is hired to protect and serve, a public servant is going around unjustly killing people. That is a problem. And the fact that you're comparing it to citizens killing citizens, it shows that you're off base.
Who do we have power over? Our citizens or our government, right? So if we can't control our own gang members from stopping killing people, how are you going to control the cops?
The government
It just seems silly.
Control the government.
And where has all this protesting gotten anybody? Nowhere.
The point.
It's got some cops fired.
That's it.
And it's got some
cops fired. Can we get some? I would like to see some presidents, some mayors. The cops is just the pawns. They're not controlling nothing.
I think it's one.
Well, they controlling their guns, that's for sure, and they shooting people. So we gotta make sure that these people don't shoot people.
And they're gonna replace them with another pawn with another gun right when you fire them because you're having the same boss.
You have yet to present.
Guys, say your last words, but if we got going to agree to disagree, just you know what I mean, that's what it is. But Steph, say your last piece.
I was just saying you present your problem, but you have not presented a solution. Essentially, you're just complaining, which is what the people who are protesting doing.
Very good. Okay, here's my solution. We end the war on drugs, right? We end the persecution and occupation of black neighborhoods that leads to these conflicts, that lead to the deaths. It's collateral damage. When you have a war, when you send soldiers to Iraq, they're going to kill Iraqi civilians. It's a natural situation. So my solution is we end the war on drugs, end the occupation of black neighborhoods, and there's an incentive for these cops to harass and have quotas to get these black people arrested, right? Because we have private prisons. So end the private prisons, get rid of these corrupt politicians who fund the private prisons, get rid of these mayors, right? Get rid of these evil, corrupt mayors who invest for the private prisons, get rid of everybody. The whole government is corrupt. America is not corrupt from the cops. It's corrupt from the president.
My man.
Guys,
Obama.
It was last word. So that's your
that's my solution.
Yeah.
And the war on drugs and the occupation of black neighborhoods.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead, Steph. Go ahead.
I was just about to say, get rid of them and replace them with what?
Get rid of what? With who? Get rid of what?
You listed it all.
Get rid of the war on drugs. Have a police force that gets murderers and pedophiles and rapists and does not focus on people smoking weed, smoking crack, doing meth. We have a police force, right? The solution is they're not doing the war on drugs. They're not looking for drug dealers selling weed. They're looking for people who kill, looking for people who rape. They're not harassing regular black people. No more stop and frisk. More of a solution on murderers, right? That way when the black people do come to the hood, they might even tell and not feel like it's snitching, right? Because they're not feeling like the cops is the enemy because they're getting harassed all the time.
You're not wrong in what you're saying, Casey. There is a bigger problem to this entire system, but I do have to say it's up to that last individual to make the defining moral decision to say, I'm going to kill this person or I'm going to let this person live and I'm going to take them to jail. That's up to that personal, that's up to that personal individual. That has nothing to do with any of the higher ups. That has nothing to do with the chief.
It does.
It has nothing to do. No, it does not.
Here's how it does.
No, you can still play a game in that same system and take somebody to jail. You don't have to take somebody's life.
You're right.
No, that's a personal decision to take somebody's life. So that's up to that individual sole police officer and that person's mindset. So you cannot blame that person's mindset on the entire system.
I'm talking about a different situation. The whole mental illness and war on drugs is two different situations, and they kind of coincide, right? My situation is more of young black males, 15 to 25, who aren't mentally insane, being harassed.
Casey, I know you don't. You're muted. You're talking. You're muted. I muted you, Casey. You're muted. Listen to me. We're gonna wrap it up after these last statements. So say your last statement and please get straight to the point, and then we're gonna go to the comments. Go ahead.
I agree with V in terms of this situation, which is a situation I think we all agree that should not be handled by law enforcement, should be handled, at least you have a mental professional force who knows the psychological ways to deal with people who deal with drug addiction and mental illness, and rather than the cops who are told to see things as a threat or a force, whether it be a bat or even someone lunging at them. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the bigger system, I do see it kind of interconnecting, and my biggest problem is I see black males in inner cities, age 15 to 25, is caught up in a school to prison pipeline where they might be doing like a nonviolent drug offense, weed, trespassing. They get bought, sent to jail, right? Sent to jail. Now they're in jail. They have to become a gang member to even survive. They come out, they can't get a job because of their record. So now you have a system where there's no other options for a lot of these kids to operate other than gangs. Now they're victims of police, victims of other gangs. I'm gonna wrap myself up. So I think we all in agreement. My thing is that being in this news game for so long and seeing all these police brutality issues, it's not that I'm insensitive. I'm just really trying to see the bigger picture, because I feel once you stop the bigger picture, the smaller pictures will go away.
I think because I never got much to say in this whole fucking 10, 15 minutes of a debate. I think that all parts of the puzzle matter, right? So we can't look at, say, because we're looking at, well, in my opinion, we can't say because we're looking at the bigger picture, we gotta not look at the smaller pieces. I do think it's all connected, but it's all relevant. Every story is relevant, and I agree with Steph when he says these people are hired to protect. So you can't just go kill somebody in a fucking Walmart because this nigga swinging a bat. You got mace, you got tasers, you got your actual physical self. I mean, even in the street, we used to tell each other all the time, and salute to Sleazy Aki, I got your donation. Me and Sleazy Aki, we used to have this one saying we used to always say back in the street, with that bat, you got one swing, nigga. One swing. So as a cop, if you don't know that shit, you're pussy. You don't deserve to be a cop. You don't know that a nigga got one swing with a bat. You got a whole fucking bulletproof vest on. You got a whole Batman utility belt with all types of gadgets on it, and you scared of a bat to where you gotta kill a nigga, you gotta go. And I think manslaughter is too light of a charge. But I want to go to the comments. But you was trying to say something? Good.
No, I was gonna say he may have two swings. It all depends, because you get a chance to do this, and then do this,
you got,
and then that might be it.
You got one swing against a warrior. One swing with that bat. You know what I'm saying?
Once you went close with a cat with a bat, what are you gonna do?
That's it. You got one swing.
Now y'all both holding the bat. You getting fucked up.
That's it. I want to go to these comments. I do not want to keep on this story too long. Mills Lane says, hold that thought though, Steph. Mills Lane says, test him with a baseball first. Mean.
That was hilarious. I was rolling when I said that.
Miss Ravioli says, if we all just move to V's nigga town, we be all right.
Thank you.
And Kid Murray says, this shit is bigger than Joe Biden. HB2S says, V victim blaming.
Oh, wow.
When you say, what were you doing next to a crazy person? Redemption is laughing at Mr. Ravioli. Mr. Ravioli also says, Casey has 12 slave catcher residue in his DNA. 12 slave catchers residue in his DNA. She says, oh my God. And Redemption is laughing at Steph. HB2S says, Casey light enough to get attacked by a homeless man, I believe. And
that shit happen. You can ask Ruddy.
Yeah, I believe Casey. I know Casey would be a lot of things, but a lie is not one of them.
Nah, you can ask Ruddy about that one. He was there.
And Ms. Ravioli says, Steph, Casey is high. And Brooklyn Honcho says, Steph to the rescue with the clutch jokes. And Redemption says, false equivalence, Casey. And Kim Murray says, nope. And HB2N says, black men don't even have control over their homes. Casey does have a point. Kim Murray says, it probably happened, but they were doing something sketchy. Brooklyn Honcho says, Casey lives in an alternate world where he mixes facts and fiction all the time. But what I will say in I guess in this scenario in the offensive, Casey, all fiction is based on some type of facts. All lies are based on some type of truth, right? And I think also what we like to do here is we like to give our strong opinions just so you could come up with your strong opinion. So whatever we say doesn't mean it's the truth that you have to accept. But we all should come up with our own truths based on the different point of views. We're just here to help you broaden, the perspective, and then you still come up with your own point of view. Because we don't want to all just say whatever narrative is. We don't want to all say whatever the narrative is that's what it is. We want people to think critically here. Casey?
Yeah, I want to respond to that. Like, what fictions? Like, I'm very serious about my facts. I do a lot of research. I'm very serious. I might be high and smoking the joint this morning, but I am a very serious journalist. Does a lot of research and I get to the facts. So let me know what fictions there are, and maybe you might be living in a fictional world, and you might think my facts are fictions because I take my facts.
This is not
put it up.
This is not to be offended by, but Casey, what you need to understand is I believe what he's responding to as fictions is based on your opinion. You know what I mean? So your opinion is based on maybe very well based on facts, but those opinions that you add to it is probably what he's calling a fiction. You know what I'm saying? Steph, you were trying to say something?
Hey, Casey, no disrespect, but that sounds like a crazy nigga. To be like, no, I'm not crazy. You crazy. You don't see the world how I see it.
Everybody has.
If you watch a movie all the time, it's always the nigga they thought was crazy in the beginning who was right in the end. So just wait. Let's talk later, and you'll see if I'm crazy.
Listen, like I said, I think the bottom line is that your opinions is what he's calling fiction. You know what I mean? So I'm not speaking for him, but that's my take on it. You know what I'm saying? You may have a fact, but then your opinion on that fact is on you. You know what I'm saying?
If I'm speaking of fiction, let me know. Correct me, because I do not like being wrong. So if I'm speaking wrong, let me know.
Once again, I said the opinions is probably what he's taking up as fiction. You know what I mean? We're all talking our opinions here. We're all bringing facts to the table, but then we're all talking opinions. The fact is this cop is being charged for manslaughter. Everything else we say about that is our opinions about the story. You understand? So JJ says, I bet cops will love Casey as their lawyer. This convo ain't about the price in China. Keenan Khan says, Casey bugging. A crazy man with a bat shouldn't be shot dead. Aren't their cops supposed to be hand-to-hand trained? I think they should be hand-to-hand trained if they're not. I think Schoolboy talked to us in the past about cops being trained in martial arts and things like that in Israel. You know what I mean? But he also explained that those cops, when they get trained in Israel, they're not being trained to kind of escalate. They're being trained to kill somebody.
Exactly.
Steph?
Nah, my homeboy who was a law enforcement officer, he said they teach you just enough to get your ass whooped. He said it's not like they teaching martial arts, jujitsu, and nothing like that. So motherfuckers would be coming out the academy with
Right, basically. Redemption Song says the whataboutism. And Laurel says Casey is right about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but I don't think he understands the difference between black and cops killing blacks. Kim Murray's clapping. Muhammad says Laurel, he clearly doesn't. JJ says, I bet the cops will love Casey as their, I think I read this already. And Mohammed Shakur says, I ain't gonna lie, I thought I could hang, but I can't. This video fucked my mood, so I really need to go enjoy it. You don't gotta announce it, bro. You know what I mean? But salute to you. But at the same time, what I will say to that is this is reality. You know what I mean? So we gotta face it. All right, we gotta face it. And the fact that we get to debate things and we still find ways to laugh here is what I hope helps put some sugar in the medicine. You know what I mean? Redemption says that's not rooted in reality. I'm not sure what part she was talking about, but I'm pretty sure it was some part of the debate. Keenan says, yo, tell J Doug come back to Steph.
Yeah, where's J Doug at?
I mean, listen, man, we don't pull teeth here. We're not dentists. So people come back or you can do what they gotta do. But he's more than welcome to come back. It's a revolving door. Ms. Ravioli says, I can handle the blunt better than KC. I ain't never hit the weed. Casey is a prime example of the ground beefer that can't work and smoke. Drive through
logic.
Hold on, let me read it. Drive through line ain't moving it's because of KC.
Don't know me. Like, I don't know if you know how long I've been a functional marijuana addict in the educational system, in the journalistic system, in the music business, in tech. So I'm very functional while I smoke. So don't mind my morning joints. This is me.
HB Toy says KC talking that Illuminati shit. And Keenan says, damn, Miss Ravioli, laugh out loud. And Brooklyn Hunter says, some of your stories are mixed with your opinion.
Oh, my bad.
That also resonates with movies, and I'm very confused. So
yo, I apologize. Like, yo, the Friday stuff was a joke. Everything else been serious. The Friday was a joke. So yeah, now I don't really got a homie named Smokey and a homie named Craig who was in a chicken coat, and I don't really know Big Worm. That was a joke. But the story about the homeless person attacking me, that was very real, and everything else has been very real. And just
and Redemption says, who pissed J Doug off? I think there's an episode out there where he came down early because we had some disagreements, and then I think it was a white woman involved with the story. The Ron Jeremy episode, the second one.
Hey, Logic. I spoke to J Doug. I think it was yesterday. I'm about to say I'll tell you about it off air. That wasn't it.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's something happened, but I'm pretty sure it was me who pissed him off to answer your question. He also accused me of not reading comments that favored him and stuff like that. So I don't, so whatever. But whatever happened, I'm sure it was me. And I'll take that.
According to J Doug, I want all the white women.
Salute to J Doug though. Like I said, it's a revolving door here, and nobody's mad at him. So if he can be professional and not take the whatever he's mad at and come back, he's more than welcome. Redemption Song says it's entirely possible to be a functional weed smoker. All right, we got through that. God damn. And oh no, we didn't. Casey, don't sit next to me on a bus and don't ask me the mathematics anymore. And Radar Van says peace. Radar Van says peace, Radar. Peace. Good to see. I'm glad you want to check in. So let's get to this next story, which is another small victory. GA cop who beat black passenger fired for excessive force. And this basic, I'll play the video.
He's bleeding! Sit down! Stop! No! Stop! Fight me! Stop! You're punching him in the face! Oh God! He's biting my hand! Stop, man! Don't bite him! Mark's calling the radio. Oh God! No! I'm gonna call your mama too! Oh God! Y'all cannot do this! Y'all cannot do this! I'm running down! Get out of him! Get the fuck out of him! No! Don't kill him! He said he can't breathe! He said he can't breathe! Officer! He said he can't breathe! He said he
fucking up the camera shot. Dumb bitch.
He said he can't breathe! So he can't breathe! Oh. He's bleeding! Get a handcuff on this hand over here! He's bleeding at his nose! Get a handcuff on that hand! He's bleeding! He's bleeding at his nose! Baby! Hey! Hey! Back up! Back up! Back up! Hey! Are you okay? Are you okay? Back up! Where's your car at? Where's your car at? Where's your car at? Where's your car at? Is this your car? Please! Please! Who is it?
All right. All that goddamn screaming, man. This nigga talking about where's your car? What the fuck does that matter right now?
And this bitch is fucking up the shot.
All right, so that came to us from TMZ. Keenan says she is annoying. Redemption says that was insane. As you can see, they beat this man out his pants, shoes, and socks. Says it was some type of incident that happened in the lift. They say the altercation was caught on camera, didn't happen on their watch. The rideshare company tweeted saying, "We've been made aware of a disturbing incident in Georgia. While confirmed this does not happen during a Lyft ride, we unequivocally stand against racism." And they also go on to say this was unclear why this was thought to have happened in a Lyft. But clearly the company saying it wasn't. In any case, the use of force speaks for itself. And as of September the 13th, the Clayton County Sheriff Office just announced that the deputy who was seen on camera pounding on the black Lyft passenger has been terminated effective immediately. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, the dramatics will lead to a dramatic check. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
but go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but do you notice they weren't really beating on him as much as they were pushing him into the ground to push the air out of his body. And that's what I want y'all to see. That's the part. If so many people are being killed saying they can't breathe, that's the part that we're not that I don't think people are really understanding. That a lot more people are gonna die like that because of this. Because before their tactic was stop resisting, and you're like, okay, I'm not resisting, and they just scream, stop resisting, come beat your ass. Now they're just pushing all the air out of you and being like, well, he just died from asphyxiation and excited delirium.
And I think you make a great point when you say that. I think a lot of people, Schoolboy, haven't really noticed a lot of the police officers doing that. Not only are they use multiple people to do that, and they use a lot of different pressure points in someone's body. I think they know consciously now what pressure points to push on that will push the air out of somebody's body. They focus on the person's head. They focus on the person's chest. They're no longer focusing on putting the cuffs on the wrist. Like that's, if you're trying to arrest somebody, that would be the main focus. But clearly in all of these videos, that's not what's happening now.
Right. Anybody else have anything else to say before I move on to the next topic? Casey? Hold on, my fault.
In general, I think it's like brutality porn, and you look at who's putting them out, Vlad TV, TMZ.
Porn?
Yeah. So they're really trying to like make entertainment out of black people getting beat up, and I think this is a big thing in the news. And then the reaction is the outrage which they get, and the outrage is also the clicks. So this is horrible. It's bad. It's been going on forever. You know what I'm saying? Since way before, since obviously slavery, and then through Jim Crow, it hasn't stopped. And you know, I've been covering this since 2008, and I'll wrap it up. But I'm just like, this whole brutality, there's so many other stuff going on in the world, man. Like, and unfortunate this is going on, but it's like, damn, the only thing going on in the world is police beating up black people. There's a whole world outside of America, even. There's a whole black community where black people are doing positive things, you know what I mean? And there are some good things that the cops are doing. Police athletic league for basketball. I'm not trying to be no cops lawyer, but
man, fuck the PAL, Casey. Fuck that PAL bullshit. But yo, listen, real quick. This might be the wrong episode because, like I said, a lot of the stories got backed up, so we never got to get to these particular stories. So I know it could be a little overwhelming for the viewers as well for us to be talking about this. But like I said, we're getting to the part where we're starting to speak about people getting fired, and you know, and that's what I wanted to get to. And as far as the lineup of these stories, but at the same time, I hear your point. You know what I'm saying? You make a point where there are people that are glorifying it or forcing it down, you know, forcing us to watch this shit. But
CNN, they don't have our interests at heart. Vlad TV don't have our interests at heart. TMZ don't have our interests at heart. But they're putting this down on us. This almost like an internet question.
You said it already. I'm trying to you know, move on a little bit. But like I'm saying, I get the point. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, I think is, if you want to call it a evil that they're forcing us to see it all the time, is a necessary evil. You know what I mean? Hopefully people don't get desensitized to it. I'll say that much. But we do need to know what's going on, and we are in the information age. So this shit is being more available, and we need to see it, in my opinion. So let me go to the comments. Brooklyn Honcho says, looks like a typical lawsuit. At some point, we have to comply. And I agree with Schoolboy. I don't know about the biting. I think somebody said he was biting one of the officers, but outside of that point, I believe like
that's what you do when you're scared, man. That's what you do when you're a grown man. Biting somebody is fucking terrifying.
There you go. So, but like Schoolboy saying, they are trying to push the air out of his body. You know what I mean? So I think that's also a fair point, and even more atrocious than the news showing us this more often. You know what I mean, Casey? Like, I think that they're out there trying to find a new way of killing us, and we need to know that. So if we took anything from this episode, know that that is one of the ways they will try to kill you and get it justified. It's not just shooting you now, it's pushing the air out of your body. I agree with him on that. Lorville in the league says, if that was my friend, we're just going to have to fight the cops. Nothing else said. And at very least, you're going to want to get, you know, I'm not going to advocate for, I don't want to advocate for what the next story is about to be about, but I will say this much. definitely, if you can, at very least, you want to get in between them. You know what I'm saying? So that way, it's like, you know, you're going to get arrested too, but you know what I'm saying? At the same time, yeah, you can't just sit there and watch your people die. You know what I'm saying? But if you do, that's your particular decision. You know what I mean? So I don't like to shame people that weren't bold enough to just jump in harm's way. Everybody's not a soldier. You know what I mean? I will say that. Radar Van says, and George Floyd was made an example, so it's not going to stop. It's going to go on. Radar Van also says, police reform or defund, fuck out of here, will never happen until black people get on some Fred Hampton shit, but that's a fucking dream.
Who was taken out in his living room? I mean,
in front of his child. But rest in peace to Fred Hampton. But speaking of Fred Hampton and getting on some other shit, getting on some gangster shit, in Los Angeles, there were police officers shot in an ambush, and this video contains violence, so viewer discretion is advised. But I will play the video for research purposes, and as the commercial plays, I'll read the article. 2 Los Angeles police officers are recovering in the hospital after being shot in what police are calling an ambush. Video of the incident shows the figure approach the officer's vehicle before opening fire and running away.
Suspect approached them from behind as the deputies were facing southbound in their patrol vehicle. Suspect came from the north. He walked along the passenger side of the car. He acted as if he was going to walk past the car, and then he made a left turn directly toward the car, raised a pistol, and fired several rounds inside of the vehicle, striking both of the sheriff's deputies.
The 2 deputies were doing their job, minding their own business, watching out for the safety of the people on the train, and seeing somebody just walk up and just start shooting on them. It pisses me off. It dismays me at the same time, and there's no prettier way to say it.
So there you go. So we spoke about things that can happen because of police overwhelmingly trying to kill us or killing us. And this is one of the things that can happen, and it happened. You know what I mean? It's not the first time. It doesn't happen quite too often. But here's a situation where it wasn't, well, as far as we know, it wasn't about the police officers. It was about just this person just killing 2 cops. And obviously, I think we know where the person is coming from in the sense of the ambush, because we spoke about this as like a war. So in a war, like Casey said earlier, you have casualties. So this seems to be casualties, you know what I mean? But how do you feel about this situation, Schoolboy? Starting with you. Mike's on Teddy Riley.
It happens. I've got to run, but it happens. I mean, if the police are going to continue to be the lawless party defending justice in America, they should expect that people are going to break the law to inflict justice on them, because they're supposed to be holding the line. When they don't do that and they're letting other stuff just slide, it's incurring the wrath of the people, their employers. So it is what it is, man. It's kind of consequential in my opinion.
So I want to read some of the article real quick in regards to it happening. They go to say almost 40 U.S. police officers were killed in the line of duty in 2020. FBI statistics show 8 of them were victims of ambush. And this situation happened in Los Angeles. V?
Yeah, I just I do have to work at 11:30, but I just wanted to say this really quickly as well. That's what I meant when I was talking about earlier. The police officers don't know what they're setting themselves up for. When someone comes and ambush a police officer, they don't know. They don't really care if it's good cops or bad cops. So when they out here killing people unjustly and that karma comes back on them, they could be coming back to kill, somebody who's essentially a good cop. But because so many bad cops have done wrong to good people, karma really doesn't really look at that. It just happens. So I feel like, 2 police officers compared to how many civilians that was killed in their custody is not even justice. I mean, this is a small drop in a bucket.
Casey.
Yeah.
Hold on, Casey. I just hooked up a second mouse to this shit and it's acting up too, but I have you on mute. Oh, you have yourself on mute. Check.
There we go. I think you've seen a lot of incidences of where police have killed black people, white people, poor people, but I don't know if there's been any incidents where there's been black people just minding their business and niggas just ran up to their cars and shot them like that. Obviously, there's been no-knock warrants. issues like that where cribs have been run up on and stuff like this. But I feel we have a people that is not ready for a revolution doing revolutionary things, and that's problematic. That's when people get killed without being ready for the proper any realization for any type of political method. I feel people celebrating this act is kind of wilding out. Like, you don't know who that cop was. If there's a war, you better be ready to accept the war on that other side. And I think a lot of people who want to talk about war on the cops, if the cops run up in their kids and shoot their people, they'll be crying, and they might not have the artillery ready for a real war with the cops in a real world situation, not an internet talk shit situation. So I feel like it's unfortunate, man. I see why it happens, because, like, as we say, we watching all these videos, people is getting bombarded with police is the enemy, police is the enemy, the police is bad, and people not in the right mental state might call it on themselves to be a hero and shoot a random police officer trying to follow the narrative that's going on when you're having all this police is bad narrative.
Right. But do you feel that they proclaimed the war on black people in this country? I feel the politicians declared the war. I don't think the police did. I don't think the police didn't just themselves quotas. You answered the question, so I'm gonna ask one more question. So you feel the politicians did. Who do you feel is enacting the violent part? Do you think the police officers are acting out the violent part of the war?
I said before, when I brought up a war, like when you send soldiers to Iraq, what you have is civilians get killed, and you can blame the soldiers for being bad and being in the wrong situation, right? But everywhere you go, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, you're getting these same situations. Civilians are getting killed. So is it always the soldiers who's the real bad part, or the soldiers the pawns, and is the chess masters sending these pawns the real villains, right? So is it really fuck the police, or is it really fuck whoever?
Casey,
whoever controls Trump.
Casey, when we talk at the same time, it's not going to work. But I'm only cutting you off because you're addressing my comment, but you're not answering it. What I'm saying is, if the politicians, you said the politicians declared the war. You answered my first one with that. So I'm asking you, do the police do they enact the violent part? Are they the ones enforcing the violent part? Yes, obviously. Okay, so that with that being said, it's not black people who started the war when we speak about a war, and you agree that there is one that was declared. So with that being said, no one's saying that. Oh, no one said on this panel or whatever, and I'm not saying you definitely accuse us of that, but no one said on this panel on the internet, oh, go pick up guns and do what you do. But what people are saying is this is the response of a fucking war. So if you agree that they proclaimed the war, what is people, you know what I mean? Granted, for a long time, black people have been civil enough not to, partake in it. But are you going to sit here and say that when someone does partake in it, that they are not partaking in something they didn't start?
I think the cops I think the politicians declared the war, right? And I don't think black people have warred against the cops or the politicians. I think they fell in line. I think they're playing victims, and I think a lot of this going on right here is meant to have black people in a victim mentality. You are victims of the state. You know what I mean? The best you can do is get a cop fired, and maybe not even that. You can't make any systemic change. Just keep on trying to get the cops fired who do this thing, rather than getting the politicians fired and changing the whole system.
All right, but not everybody plays victim. Some people, like this story we just saw, will ambush cops. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna go to Steph. Steph, what's your thoughts?
No, that's a good point. Everybody doesn't play victim. In fact, the mother of what's my man's name who died right here in Florida, Trayvon Martin. His mother is running for it holds office. In fact, you know what I'm saying. So everybody don't just sit down and lay down, and they actually do try to change things from the inside. But if you realize it's three branches of government, you know what I'm saying. You can't just flip it from your seat. One person can't do that. It's checks and balances. It's the reason they designed it to be so hard. It's so difficult to change. You see what I'm saying? Because they felt like when it was instituted that it was perfect. So they made it real hard to be changed. You get what I'm saying? And when you can change shit, you can only change it locally. That's why you'll hear instances where, like, this area is, the racism ain't that bad, but in this area it's fucked up. See what I'm saying? Nonetheless, I think this young brother's his energy is misplaced. Unless maybe he knew these officers, maybe he knew that. That's the only thing that would make sense, because you don't just run up on random cops trying to get them back, especially if you're in the city where nothing crazy has happened. Maybe these were the cop officers that had killed his homeboys a year ago, months ago, whatever. I don't know, but
You don't know. You're right. You don't know.
But yeah, if that's not the case, then this is definitely misplaced, and people don't need to follow this. This is a suicide mission.
We in agreement on this one. I feel you better be very careful when you call for war. If you call for war, you are calling for the deaths of civilians. You are calling for casualties. So even on this side, so like for me, in terms of revolution, if it cannot be achieved through political means, that's the last means, violent. And I don't think people are even trying to change things through political means right now. So violence is like, once you really, because right now you did make a good point about the three branches, the judicial, executive, and the legislative, right? So, but our problem is not the system of government. It's the political parties in the government that divide and conquer the whole nation and focus everyone on putting money on the military, which we ignore. I don't see, and it's not a shot on Logic, it's a shot on everyone in the media. I don't see no one in the media talking about all these wars we have. Not TMZ, not CNN, not MSNBC, but that's where we spending all our tax money going to wars, right? You know what I'm saying? So we have a system where it's a double-headed political system with Democrats and Republicans, both really being on the same team, being warmongers, both being on the war on drugs. You know what I mean? Bill Clinton, everyone, George Bush, all in the same game together. It's the game. So it's not even really the system will work all right. The system it works all right for democracy. It's how the system is worked through the political parties that really destroys it. And that's what needs to happen for change. A new political party, not just black people becoming Democrat no more.
All right, let me go to these comments. Kelso says bong bong respectfully, and which goes to the point that it's hard for people to feel sorry for them when other people are getting killed by police. It's hard to feel sorry for when police get killed, out of nowhere. This Ravioli says, yep, was the deputy erect while pinning down the young man. Leo should wear spandex bottoms from now on. Pat down, pin down, knee on neck, etc. Get some folks off. Show yourself. So she's accusing, I guess, the police of being aroused by
Hold on, but she said Leos as that, like, is that a zodiac sign thing? Because I'm a Leo, and now I'm taking offense to that, my nigga. That ain't the type of time I'm on.
I don't know what the fuck. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. So radar van is tight at what we saw. Keenan Khan says, if that's your friend, you need to tell him to be smart about the situation. You jumping in is only going to get both y'all killed faster. Well, like I said, in my case with my cousin and I think I prevented my cousin from getting killed, and we both obviously didn't get killed. So Keenan Kelso says, sitting on that whip like it's sweet. What you gonna do when you and a 9mm meet? Kelso boss. And Radar Man says, pardon my cuss words, y'all. I get pissed quick when I see shit like this. It's all online. It's all good. And Radar Man also says, true, you right. And Radar Man says, not ready at all. You right. Word. So yeah, to speak to that, I don't think I'm not saying that you were saying we were, but I don't think when people call for war, I get what your point. But my point to you earlier was that whether somebody is calling for war or not from our side, speaking of black and brown people or indigenous, whatever you want to call us, calling for war, we didn't call we didn't start the war. Like you said, the politicians, whoever, it's already been proclaimed on us. So I'm not totally in agreement with that, because I feel like we didn't start it. You know what I mean?
But I agree, but they started it politically, and what I'm saying right now is the best way for us to fight it is politically. You know what I'm saying? The war started through laws in Congress, through laws in the Senate, not through a police committee of saying, yo, we're going to flood the hood with crack, and then once we get them on crack and dealing crack, we're going to lock them up for that crack.
Casey, I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, even that this war against us is not just from when they started building courthouses in this country. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? It's been from day zero. Steph, you trying to say something?
No, I agree with both of y'all actually. No, that's not where it started, but that's where it's at now. You see what I'm saying? They've transitioned it from physical war to structural war, and it's systemically being placed on us still. And from what Casey is saying, it sounds like he's saying we need to vote. That's what that sounded like. That sounded
People
like
didn't voting. I
add
think
the
it's
vote.
people.
But that's the start. That's the first step, correct? I mean, you got to at least have your people in place. Otherwise, they're not going to serve you. That seems to be the consensus, even though you are, if I'm the governor of all of Florida. But it seems like if I'm the governor, I'm just the governor of the Republicans of Florida. And that's a real jaded way of thinking. But that is the mindset that it's been.
Yo, you guys got another 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To your point, I feel it is important to vote, but I feel the system of black people voting within the democratic system in the two-party line is what I was bringing up earlier. The real flaw of the government is not the Constitution, which actually provides a decent framework for democracy. It's how the political parties have manipulated the democracy and brainwashed people through the media. You know what I'm saying? Through Fox, MSNBC, whoever. And I feel not only do we need to vote, but we need to have our own political party, because the black vote, and to an extent the vote of poor people in general, has been eliminated by the separation of political parties. Democrats have no motivation at all to do anything that benefits African Americans, because they know they're getting the votes anyways, and they know they can just pander and do symbolic gestures. Republicans know they got the poor white vote, and they don't got to do anything for all. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it needs to be a new political party, not just voting. And like Logic will know, it needs to happen from like the Charles Barrons. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, you need to start at the city council levels. You know what I'm saying? The school committee levels.
Right. Chris Jones says, I'm not going to eyewitness any of my peoples get murdered by anybody, by any of them racist pigs. And salute. I'm glad to know somebody like you, Chris. I'm glad to have a friend like you in my life. Because not everybody in the chat, I know some of these people in the chat personally. These people I know as well. So salute to you, Chris. Let me see. Laura Vanessa says, I agree with Casey. There should be more done than just protesting. Our people should be more into their state politics. And that's salute. And also says community and etc. I think that's something we all agree on. Kelso also says, y'all both have good points. Uncalled for deaths are never good, but that's the risk cops take representing an organization responsible for violence and an unjust incarceration of civilians. And I agree with that. Ms. Ravioli says, civilians are dying right now, Casey, and no one has officially called for war. Not on our side. I think that it is a war on our people, though. You know what I mean? Kelso also says, would you be a medic in the military and cry when the enemy clap you? Can't say I'm a good soldier though. No one wants to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So, I agree with that too. You sign up for the job, it is what it is. Radar Van says fucking shit up and snitching, talking too much and spelling out the plans can't be made so we can organize. I'm done. Salute, Logic. Peace. I don't know about plans, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what plans is being exposed here. Maybe I'll watch it, but as far as I know, for the most part, our people are more docile than volatile or militant. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about any right now, at least. Yeah, I don't know about any plans being spoken of. Guys,
Is Radar Vans, that's your man?
That's the homie, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I guess you can vouch for this young man. I was just trying to figure out why he was using zeros with an O's go.
Ms. Ravioli says Leos, law enforcement officers. That's Steph.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. That makes a lot of sense.
And Hemp Lord says Casey setting fire. And, Laura Vanessa says I'm an independent, not Democrat or Republican. I fuck with that. But I think like what Casey was saying, and not to give Kanye too much credit because this shit ain't genius at all. I actually had this idea since college. I think we should have a new party just in general. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's enough to say you're independent. I think the Green Party has an agenda that doesn't always necessarily involve, you know, black and brown people. But salute to them. When Obama ran, they had a militant vice president, Puerto Rican female that I know personally that was running. So that salute to her. But I think we need something fresh that just totally represents what needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? And that something we all can agree on in regards to cleaning up and really draining the swamp, as Trump like to say. You know what I mean? World Financial Group says good morning. Good morning to you, Saga Fit. You know what I mean? So with that, we're going to go to this next story, but we're not going to talk too much about it because it leads to the one right after. Ohio woman falsely called police on black man using his phone, said he was carrying a gun. And the story goes on to say in Ohio, Darren Cooper was in Ravenna, I think that's the name of the town, for the first time. A Hudson resident who works for Summit County. He was at the Portage County Job and Family Services building parking lot of South Chestnut Street for a 9 a.m. training meeting. Cooper got to the building early, good man, signed in and went to sit in his car about 8:47 a.m. drinking tea and talking on his cell phone. When the cops pulled up into the parking lot, he said he initially didn't think nothing of it. The Summit County has police officers at the building he works in, and he said so he didn't think anything was wrong until the fourth officer rolled in. And that's also when the police came up to his car yelling, "Put your hands up." And, you know, I don't think we got to read the whole story per se. I think we get the point. You know what I'm saying? They go on to say that the police also, Cooper was the only black man in the parking lot in a Mustang. He says he doesn't understand how the caller would have seen a gun in his hand, especially if she was across the street. The caller identified his car as black, where it's dark gray. He said she didn't identify him as a black man. She did identify his car, which goes to the point that they can call these quote unquote death squads on you if they just want to see you get harassed and or killed, right? So that's an actual thing that they can do now. You know what I'm saying? If they want to see you possibly get murdered, all you gotta do is call the cops on you. And if you want to respond to that point, feel free, but I'm going to go to the next story. If not, Casey?
I'm good.
All right, cool. Steph? You on, Mom? Tell you, Riley.
I was about to say, yeah, it's kind of a recurring theme. So, yeah, let's get through the stories, as many stories that we can.
So the next story is somewhat of good news. New Jersey passes a bill to make false race-based 911 calls a bias crime. So I'm happy to hear about that, and I hope everyone follows suit with that in the other states. So I'll read some of the article. Once again, it comes from Vlad TV. According to reports, false race bias based 911 calls will be criminalized in the state of New Jersey after the signing of new bill by Governor Phil Murphy on Monday. The bill seeks to hold those accountable for using 911 to intimidate and harass people of color. I don't know about y'all, but I'm happy to hear that shit. You have anything?
I had a personal experience back home when I was just chilling in my backyard. I don't think I was just sitting in my backyard in Cambridge, where I'm from. Unfortunately, my neighborhood was getting gentrified at a rate that I wasn't really aware of. Right. And the police was coming to me in my own house. And there was a lot of reasons. I don't know. You know, obviously I'm familiar with racism, might have been a victim, but I really had a really bad temper tantrum, both because of the gentrification and the change in neighborhood, where I felt like I've been in this neighborhood my whole life, and you have these new people coming in, displacing the families and friends I grew up with, and they're seeing me as the threat. So, you know, I feel it's a good thing. I feel it is too bad, and I feel like, if anything, like a lot of this Karen moments might have a lot of white people realize their casual racism, not systematic racism, but, you know, the casual racism that might have them, you know, walk across the street, call the cops, you know, bother people when they shouldn't. And yeah, I've definitely been a victim of that. Blessed because of my situation, I haven't really faced this systematic racism of mass incarceration. Like I've been in other situations, so I feel like I would like to see some focuses done on that type of racism. But this is good for me, you know what I mean? I got less of a chance of some asshole white person calling the cops on me when I'm at my father's house in Jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now in Jersey, they can be arrested for that shit.
Yeah, so it's good, man.
Yeah. Steph, you got anything to say about that? Or
I mean, that's a good thing, obviously. I don't have too much to say. No more Karen calls in that city. But that's not a thing that they're going to employ worldwide. So, like I said, a small victory, but victory nonetheless.
Hopefully that shit gets implemented. And when y'all speak about local politics, hopefully people can take that and run with it in their local politics. You know what I'm saying? Loravell says, are y'all still messing with Vlad after he disrespected Louis Farrakhan? I don't mess with Fox News, but I read the news and then go off on the scenario. I don't mess with CNN. I don't mess with a lot of shit, but I'm a little bit more objective and strategic with how I move. So it's not about messing with DJ Vlad when we read a story from his website. And like I said, a lot of these stories were stuff that kind of got stacked up, and we want to get through it, especially before we get into October and we start this new season. You know what I mean? So we want to get through anything we didn't get a chance to speak about. And in these first 40 episodes, this is episode 36. Salute to us and salute to everybody watching. But it's not about messing with Vlad. But to answer your question though, I didn't dig deep into that scenario. I do know he misquoted Farrakhan. He misquoted him. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But I didn't really listen to his response about it or like how he reacted. I know he didn't react favorably according to other people, but I didn't hear his response for myself. So I didn't officially cancel him yet. But I don't think black people cancel anybody, to be honest. I don't think that's really our thing.
I think I've been said this. I've been saying on the record for not fucking with Vlad, but that's me. I'm not. I wouldn't know no cancel culture type thing. I don't fuck with him.
Yeah, and I think the way he gets people to snitch on themselves, I think is a little awkward how they snitch on themselves. But if they're going to do it after knowing that's what's going to happen when you get up there, that's on them. Casey?
I think Vlad's part of a bigger culture that also includes black people. I still do mess with Vlad. I still, from my old journalism day, I still go to media takeout every day at 10 in the morning, 7 in the morning, depending on where I'm at. I think through my perspective, I realize that Vlad's fuckery, so I don't go for Vlad for my real news that informs my worldview. I go for my gossip, my entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm coming to DJ Vlad, and he does do good interviews from time to time, and he gets people. And he's actually done some good interviews with like Judge Joe Brown, where he dropped knowledge on the assassination of Martin Luther King. He's done a good interview with Malcolm X's daughter, where she dropped some gems on the assassination of her father and the involvement in the U.S. government, which is kind of why I don't mess with Farrakhan on the level. If you get into that, not to say that Farrakhan made the hit, but he acted like he did. I don't mess with Vlad or what he represents in general. And even Vlad would use my content back in the days. Vlad put Monkey Gang on the thing. He was interested. He was talking to Logic about it. So he's took my other content. You know what I mean? I never told him to take nothing down. It's not about messing with him. It's about realizing he's part of a system and realizing who he is. I think if you really think you're going to Vlad News for all your news and have your worldview, you're really wrong. If you really think that Vlad doesn't have an agenda in terms of marketing black violence and black misery into money, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? But that's like you got black journalists doing that too. You got mainstream media does that too. He's far from the main one.
Casey, actually, what you said that is true, but a lot of medias do it. You see black journalists doing it, like you said. But my thing was when he was doing interviews and putting this artist against this artist. That's just that, like, you're inciting. Now you're creating shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't fuck with. I thought that was some whole shit, and I ain't never fucked with it since.
That goes back to Vibe magazine with Biggie and Tupac. That goes back to DJ Academics and the Warren Chirac. So he's doing stuff that's been going on. Like a lot of these media platforms is basing themselves off beef.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you brought up DJ Academic because I said the same thing about DJ Academic. I said it on my show. I'm like, yo, I don't fuck with DJ Academic. I feel like because he's not really from the United States, I think he's from Jamaica. It's like he's kind of he feels no remorse about capitalizing off our culture. Like, and I just felt like he messy.
I'll say that, I'm Jamaican, Logic's Haitian, I feel, but both of us grew up in the hood. He grew up in Jersey. So me growing up in the hood, I realized what black on black crime really was, that it wasn't entertainment, that it was a very real thing that destroyed communities, took away lives. So black on black crime has never been entertainment for me. You know what I'm saying? Or urban gun violence or rappers beef. But I feel for him maybe being disconnected from that element, he might have saw it as entertainment rather than a reality. That's why he came at it as an entertainment reporter rather than a real journalist.
All right, so let's go to these coverage. My fault, Steph. You got something last thing about it?
No, I was just saying facts. I agree.
All right, so Redemption says agreed, Casey, at one of your earlier points. Radar Van says black artists and black entertainment need to start taxing Vlad.
That's what Logic was saying. Logic said that exact same shit. He was trying to get money. I was like, Logic, just let us get the promo. I need to get the bag from Vlad. I'm like, nah, this nigga gonna be popping. We could be world star again.
I don't remember. I think what I told the nigga, I don't know if it was Vlad I was corresponding with. It might have been
Vlad, bro. Because he told me, he was like, yo, your man's bugging.
Well, if anybody's curious what we talking about, Vlad put Monkey Gang trailer on his website when it first came out for our first film, and then he hollered at us about putting more content from the film, as we were putting out a lot of promotional videos at the time, and he wanted to put more Monkey Gang material on his website. And when he had to contact me about it, obviously being the executive of the project, and I was basically, I don't remember asking for money, but that's not money. that's not beyond me. So I will say, even though I don't remember it, I probably did say that. You know what I'm saying? I definitely wasn't playing with these, especially white folks, when it came to the message of Monkey Gang. I didn't want it to just be anywhere without us being compensated, right? The right way. And also I wanted to also have that social responsibility, which is why I never dropped the mockumentary from the title. So right now we say Monkey Gang because we talking to each other and we talking formally, but I never took the mockumentary off of the title like I would suggest, like some people suggested I do. Like some white people suggested I do. But with that being said, I told him interview us so we can speak to the audience, right? I didn't just want it to be okay. Look at these guys acting like, making fun of rappers that glorify cooning, basically, right? I was like, interview us. You know what I mean? We need an interview. And that I still have the email.
Okay.
And then motherfuckers said they came back in the email with some nah, we can't do that. So I was like, if you can't interview us, fuck you. You don't
and that's the crazy thing is that's before he did the couch. Yeah. And he made interviews his thing after that. Before that, he was just aggregating shit. That's wild.
He was, but I think he had some interviews. It wasn't as popping now, but he did have some interviews, which is why I said that. So my thing was like, yo, interview us, bring us up there, and let us talk. You know what I'm saying? For us, let us talk our message, because you know how we used to do. We used to definitely like to tell people our message. A lot of people told us to promote the movie in character. We didn't do that. We every time we used to do interviews, we were ourselves. So my thing was, look, let us talk about it. And when I got an answer to no, it was like, well, thank you for the promotion you gave us so far, but you can't use any other content how he was trying to use it, because he wanted to use it not by, like you said, aggregating the material into his site. He wanted
original content.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So Radar Van says word up. He also says Monkey Gang is classic. Hot damn, very funny. And Brooklyn Honcho says, I like this lineup. And Kalila says, now you gotta play. Now you got to play the song. All right, we'll play some of that, on our way out. And Lorville says, agree, our people give him views, why not get paid in the process? I'm with Jah. And Miss Ravioli says, nah, if I can't catch up on Vlad interviews, you cannot use articles. Lord Jamal, Godfrey, Royce the 5'9", my song, and Lil Boosie, 86 Vlad, stay on code. SOC, stay on code. I hear you, but What code are you referring to? You know what I mean? What code are you referring to? You know what I mean? But anyway, let's like I said, we go to racist media all the time. We go to Fox 5 and CNN and all that. We're here to talk about the story and come, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we creating our own content over the story. So it is what it is. But this I thought was pretty funny, even though it's sad. So we're gonna talk about politics real quick. Your man Trump is always saying some wild shit, but this I thought was fucking hilarious. And Trump apparently thought it was a good idea to mock MSNBC anchor Ali Valishi, who got shot with a rubber bullet. And I think we should watch this. Here's the video. Let's see if an ad plays first. It's the ad playing first, so I'll read some of the article first. But it speaks for itself. President Donald Trump on Friday mocked an American news anchor for being shot with a rubber bullet during George Floyd protests in May, calling it a beautiful
Remember
sight.
this guy Welty? He got hit on the knee with a canister of tear gas, and he went down. He didn't. He was down. My knee. Nobody cared. These guys didn't care. They moved him aside, and they just walked right through. It was the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to read and watch the rest of it. I just thought it was fucking hilarious. I don't know about y'all. I think it's a hilarious thing. I think it's despicable that he thinks it's funny. Oh, that's the picture of this dude getting shot right there. But I can't help it, yo. This nigga Trump is funny, man.
He's so petty, bro. Like, he remembers every reporter who said anything bad about him, and when they get caught up, he got jokes on them. But I think this kind of also represents him being on the side of the police as well. He thinks it's funny that when the police tear gasses reporters, and he's kind of showing antipathy against like the protesters, and he's kind of dehumanizing them a little bit at the same time. But he got jokes. He got reason to be for MSNBC. Yeah, fuck MSNBC. But I think this is who he's meant. He's like a wrestler out here. He's talking shit to his opponents. Can't help laughing.
Steph. The mic is on Teddy Riley, bro.
God damn, I just wasted all that time. I was about to say, nah, I don't really give a fuck about this whole thing. The joke, the nigga getting hit with tear gas. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit.
Respectfully, I thought it was funny. My knee.
So you thought he was hamming it up a little bit?
What do you mean by hamming it up? I'm not familiar with that.
Like, if you just throw like a little pebble at me and I go, my knee, like I'm hamming it up a little bit.
No, I think if you get shot
with a tear gas canister,
I think a tear gas canister, a rubber bullet, all that shit is gonna hurt, bro. Like fucking get hit with a paintball is gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? So you get hit with anything with that much pressure is gonna hurt. Like I remember when I don't know if I should be saying this shit, but I remember when I was a teenager, me and the homies actually made like let's say a science experiment that ended up becoming a potato gun. You know what I'm saying? And that shit, even that shit combust and spits them out at a certain, you know what I mean, speed.
Oh yeah,
that shit's gonna knock you the fuck out, bro. You know what I'm saying? So nah, bro, I think that shit hurt. But I think it's funny when someone said, my knee. And we get a little your roommates in the background, so curve your camera a little bit, Casey. You invading your roommate.
Oh, yeah. Let me move back to my other spot. I just needed to charge my shit.
All right, and Norvell's in the league says, my knee. Exactly, that shit is funny, yo. That shit is funny. And Redemption says, bunker bitch has jokes. He definitely is the bunker bitch. He definitely has jokes. You know what I mean? And Louisville, the league says, I'm ready for the Trump versus Joe Biden debate on the 29th. It's going to be a joke section mixed with.
I can't wait. It's going to be a roast session, bro.
You know what? I have to agree with y'all there. I think I'm going to rub his hand like Birdman. Like, Joe Biden is an ass. He's crazy. That nigga says whatever comes to his mind.
He's coming with malarkey. He's like, listen here with your malarkey. Trump's like, listen here, Sleepy Joe. You have no swag. You got no pictures. I got pictures.
Right, the nigga Trump is crazy. So I definitely, I got a point. Like I think I'm gonna have to check it. But with
That's
that,
gonna be smack right there.
yeah. With that being said, I'm sad that Schoolboy isn't here for this one. But Schoolboy is soon going to be doing what we're calling the Civil War report. And Casey, in case you don't know, Schoolboy made a great point on one of the earlier episodes. So we decided to take the position that our country is in fact in a civil war right now, and they're just not going to say it until years down the line. So we're going to be itemizing and talking about all of the incidents that count as a civil war. You know what I'm saying? So Ms. Ravier says, I don't know what code as Josh. She's laughing. But if black men talking as a collective stand on showing our economic power is real, I'm down. I'm always down to show that as a boycott or whatever. But, I mean, maybe, yeah, I understand streaming Vlad TV's content may give him some, money with YouTube, but YouTube money is pennies. I'm gonna keep it real with you. So I never donated to Vlad. I don't plan on purchasing anything Vlad related. So, my money's still in my pockets. But if he got a good interview while I watch it, I'm gonna watch that shit. And if he has an article that I didn't see somewhere else and I saw it there, and I'm going to fucking use that as the reference point for a story sometimes. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not going to be economically supporting him in no major way. But speaking of the Civil War, that's why I brought it up to Casey earlier. You guys know our position is that our country is definitely in a civil war, and Schoolboy is going to be doing the official Civil War reports. But this story is pretty crazy, and hope Casey come back in time to see it. But there he goes. But basically, speaking of Trump. Speaking of people doing things for get back, and there is a woman who's from the Army, who was actually in the Navy, and who actually has been accused of sending a ricin letter to the White House. So we're gonna watch this short clip that's gonna explain it, and then we possibly may read the article.
Searched a condo in Montreal Monday in connection with a poison-laced letter sent to the White House. Officers trained with handling chemicals and explosives led the search. On Saturday, a letter addressed to the White House was intercepted at a government screening facility. Several tests confirmed the presence of the poison ricin. The woman accused of sending the envelope was arrested Sunday at the New York-Canada border. Officials say she was carrying a gun and is believed to have been trying to enter the U.S.
So, so there you have it. There's a woman who tried to poison people in government via a poison letter. Steph, you heard that? Your mic is on Teddy Riley stuff.
Yeah, I heard everything. I seen everything.
All right, cool. Casey, you heard it as well, right?
I heard a little bit of it. Yeah.
Send rice to the White House. So, and I'm gonna read some of the article. A woman suspected of sending an envelope containing the poison ricin, which was addressed to the White House, has been arrested at the New York-Canada border, with 3 law enforcement officers told the Associated Press on Sunday. The letter had been intercepted early in the week before it reached the White House. The woman was taken into custody by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers at the Peace Bridge border crossing near Buffalo, and is expected to face federal charges. The officials say her name is not immediately released. The letter was addressed to The letter was addressed to
Pennsylvania Avenue.
It says I'm sorry. The letter addressed to the White House appeared to have originated in Canada. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police have said it was intercepted at a government facility. The screen's mail address to the White House and President Donald Trump, and preliminary investigation indicated it tested positive for ricin, according to the officials. The officials were not authorized to discuss the ongoing investigation publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity. There have been several prior instances in which U.S. officials have been targeted with ricin sent through mail. A Navy veteran was arrested. Okay, so she's not the Navy veteran, excuse me, but a Navy veteran was arrested in 2018 and confessed to sending envelopes to Trump and members of his administration that contained the substance from the ricin, which ricin is derived. The letters were intercepted and no one was hurt. And then in 2014, a Mississippi man was sentenced to 25 years in prison after sending letters dusted with ricin to President Barack Obama and other officials. What's your thoughts on this? People sending ricin to the White House. What's your thoughts on this? Starting with you, Casey.
Do they really think like Trump's gonna open it? Are they trying to poison it? They think like you think I can mail Trump a letter right now and he can open up and read it? Oh, Mighty Casey says I should change my policies. He ain't reading it. So they either have to be crazy or this has to be a pattern of fake terror attacks because it happened around 9/11 too with the anthrax. So I don't really know. These are weird things. I don't know why they happen, who they happen. Usually the only people who are gonna get poisoned be someone working in a mailroom or something. So I don't know what this person was trying to do. If I thought I could reach Donald Trump by mail, I would have been mailing him. I'll ask him some money, give him some advice, all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? But like, I was a journalist. I never even got to meet Obama. I don't know if I ever got to mail him. So these people is crazy, or it's some other stuff.
Steph?
No, I think this is weak. Like y'all got to step y'all assassination game up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all sending out fucking mail. Like this shit ain't been working. This shit ain't never worked. You think like if there was ever a time to get a nigga, it would have been Kennedy. But you know that time when niggas ain't couldn't really detect ricin like that. Now it's like nigga, you that shit ain't gonna fly. It ain't man. You not gonna get no simple shit like that through. You got to infiltrate. You got to be in the system. You got to turn yourself into a Republican. Get a job at the White House because it's jobs. It's been jobs available since he's been in office. If it ain't a job this week, it's a job next week. You got to grind your way into an assassination. Okay, you just got to work hard, get your assassination on because you can't do it like just through no mail. That's too easy. Come on, man.
Yeah, they ain't working.
Yeah, shit don't make no sense. I agree with y'all there. That shit definitely don't make no sense. Magazine is on the check-in. Salute to you. He says, hello. What's up with you? And Magazine also says, ricin comes from a plant. It's the seeds ground up. I think anyone can make it. Sounds like you got some experience, Magazine. Magazine also laughs. So isn't that the same shit they used in Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, you remember? Didn't he kill somebody with the ricin in Breaking Bad?
Oh, he poisoned somebody.
He poisoned somebody with the ricin in that joint. Them niggas watching too much Breaking Bad, bro. I think that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? So
but no, this has been tried so many times and it's never worked. Like it's like open out there, like, yo, yeah, we've arrested. And then how did they find you? They found your fingerprints? Did you have an assassination attempt with ricin on the envelope and you not use gloves? How did they find you?
Yeah, that's a good point. They definitely was slipping, and like Casey said, they definitely had to been like already crazy in the head. You know what I'm saying? To think that shit will work. So you know, I'm gonna close it out on this little political shit right here. Are you familiar with Kim Klacik, Casey?
Nah, refresh me.
We spoke about it on a previous show, and apparently, Kim Klacik, she's like some type of Republican out of Baltimore. She did this campaign that went viral video where she was walking through the streets of Baltimore talking about how, you know, she's there to fix it up and how trash it is. And she apparently used to be a stripper. I think that's one of the things we spoke about when she came up. Are you familiar with it at all, Kim Klacik?
I probably will be once I see the video.
Okay, so I don't know if it's much of a it's not much of a video, but I did want to talk about it. You know, you seem to usually know a lot of shit. So Keenan Khan says Jesse killed the kid on accident, I think. Exactly, with the ricin. Exactly. And Redemption says she fuck nuts. That's Kim Klacik. She's bugged out. And Magazine says I practice natural medicine. So many deadly plants. Oh, okay. So you know what time it is. All right. But Kim Klacik apparently has accused Joy Behar of wearing blackface. That's Joy Behar being that woman from The View. So Kim Klacik, who's running to represent Maryland's 7th Congressional District, that includes part of Baltimore, got into a heated exchange with the group of women after she lodged the claim against Joy Behar that late Elijah Cummings represented the district from 1996 to 2019. Appearing on the daytime talk show Friday, Klacik showed up for support for President Donald Trump, where the subject of the White House reaction to the when the subject of the White House reaction to the coronavirus pandemic came up, Bear pressed Klacik to admit that Trump administration response to COVID has not been good, particularly in the light of his taped exchange with veteran journalist Bob Woodward, in which Trump downplayed the seriousness of the disease and or the virus rather. And they go on to say, you have to put some blame on your president. I'm sorry, Bear said to Klacik. In response, Klacik then said, is this Joy speaking? The same Joy that that paraded around in blackface not too long ago? And then Bear said, that's not true. The black community had my back. They know that was not blackface. It was a homage. Oh, please. And Klacik was mentioning the 2019 viral moment in which a photo of 29-year-old Bear was dressed up, seemingly wearing blackface, wearing what she called a beautiful African woman costume for Halloween. Bear discussed the costume in during 2016 episode of The View, saying that she wore makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin. So yeah, so basically, how do you feel about this lady wearing blackface as a homage?
Joy Behar?
Yeah.
I don't remember when it happened. There was so many of those blackface stories that come out. I don't think it was a homage. I think it would be almost like me dressing up like a Native American with a hat and you know what I mean, like and a headdress and all that, where it's like I'm playing them as a cartoon character. So I feel like she almost played like a stereotypical African woman with the dress and the thing. And I feel the Trump supporter definitely deflected real quick with the shots. You know what I mean? She didn't really want to address the issues of what was going on with Trump and his response. And I like to see the video of this woman in Baltimore because it's an interesting Republican tactic to blame the Democrats for poverty in these cities when there's always the Republicans voting against any type of aid relief to these cities in terms of social programs and reform. Yeah, it's funny to me. It's entertainment. Joy Behar's a joke. You know what I mean? This other woman's a joke. They cracking jokes. Let's go.
All right, true. Steph, what's your thoughts?
No.
Was it a valid comeback? What do you think?
No. Not even to give Joy an out, but answer the question. That was a legit question. You're running for office. The fuck you dodging and dissing reporters? Oh yeah, that's what Republicans do now. Apparently, Donald Trump has laid the groundwork, so that's what we do. We're gonna deflect and we're gonna insult the person asking the questions instead of actually asking valid questions. There was nothing out of bounds about that question. About saying you gotta admit he hasn't handled COVID right. You gotta admit he hasn't done this. He hasn't been great with this, right? Oh, I know you ain't talking. You was wearing blackface. What the fuck that got to do with this? Niggas love deflecting. You know what I'm saying? They ain't had shit to do with it. Now I ain't saying I'm not even defending old girl, but that ain't had shit to do with it.
All
that
right.
was you. You was in the corner like, oh, how we pivot out of this? Black card, race card. That's how you play it. If you ain't never seen a nigga play a race card, that was it.
All right, so I've seen some people ask us to actually pull up the image. So I just found the image, yo. All right, so here we go. Here's the image. This is her. This is apparently back in the some days.
Oh, it's not that bad.
I mean, she
not
did.
That bad. The afro a little out there. It's not that bad.
That ain't shit.
That's Kim Kardashian on a Tuesday.
All right, Redemption says Candace Owens 2.0 respectability politics. Keenan says magazine, what you know about dandelion root? And Ish says, yeah, she married to a zaddy with 3 or 4 baby mamas.
Let's go.
And magazine says, yo, F Joy B, she did blackface and showed it on The View. And so we're looking at it now.
That don't look like blackface.
Well, she admitted she wore the makeup that was darker than her skin.
It's not how light is she if that's darker though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like to wear a shade or two darker is not blackface. Like we
And
see
women do that all the
women,
time.
We
Just for
see
cover
women
up.
wearing shade. Yeah, we see women wearing shades, one or two shades lighter. I don't think they're wearing white face. Come on, that's barely off.
All right. Redemption says the Joy Bear blackface issue played out ages ago. Late comeback. Ms. Ravioli says, magazine, let's talk natural healing. And magazine says, I bet people eat it, but I never read about it. Us Italian make tea and cook the flowers and leaves. Very good for you. And magazine also says, Ms. Ravioli, all day. I'm eating raw garlic right now. And Redemption says, pull up the pic. I did. But she says,
Whoa.
Wait. She said,
well, talk about that logic.
Which one? What raw onions? I mean raw garlic? What happened?
You starting off your morning with raw garlic in your mouth? Your breath? Your breath gonna be stink all day, partner. Ain't no gum that can heal that. Raw?
That's just gonna keep his immune system up, though. No.
Yo, on the real, but wait till some vampires run up on him. Who's laughing then?
Pills?
Yo, I mean, I've heard of that though. I've heard of that, but you do got a point. Maybe it may be better to eat it before bed because once a day is still good. But who knows? I don't know. I'm not the health expert, you know what I mean? But I think anything people do it to kind of like, boost their immune system, more power to you in these days. But Redemption says, pull a pick up, not full blackface like Northam pulled here in VA. Looks like she has a tan. Okay. So HB2N says, because conservatives believe blacks can figure their way out of poverty, Democrats believe you too stupid to do it on your own. Good point. Magazine says, you want to see what freaking brought and paid for hypocrites these creep celebrities are? Check out my latest meme on YouTube, Jimmy Kimmel blackface vid. Wow. So I'm going to check that out, Magazine. Redemption Song says she's laughing at Casey. So yo, it's been fun. You know what I'm saying? It got heated as it should. You know.
Yo, thank you for everyone for the respectful opinions. Yo, Brooklyn, you called me out and I took it in a disrespectful way, but you was right about me mixing the fiction by talking about the Friday story. So I took that the wrong way. Sorry to come at you like that. But everybody, all the panelists, everybody who agreed or disagreed with me, shout out to all y'all. I appreciate it.
That's what we do here. You know what I'm saying? We like to help people come up with their own conclusions by critical thinking. We don't all agree, and I don't think it would make sense if we all agree. I think we'll be being fake if we always agree. You know what I'm saying? And we always still find a way of being respectful about it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what's missing in a lot of these dialogues. You feel me? Is people being respectful about disagreeing. And I feel in our case, I feel like we lead an example, you know what I mean, with not just being disrespectful. Sometimes we get on each other's nerves, but I feel like us being standing strong on our points allows the audience to further make their mind up, right? Because sometimes we get fed stories and we just go off what we heard, you know what I mean? And we don't think too critical about it. Actually, we don't even more times read the whole article. We just read the title. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I'm guilty of reading some of the article. Most of the times I don't read the whole article here, but at the same time, we like to at least read into it and explore the situation. You feel me? So, and Brooklyn Honcho is laughing at the vampire comment. And I don't know. I changed my mouse. My shit's still acting crazy. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with this shit. I might have to get a new system. You know what I mean? So I'll just read the comments for now. Miss Ravioli says, nah, my raw food eating homie smell like straight garlic, Steph. And Magazine also says, oh, please, I dare that dude to defend Jimmy Kimmel after seeing my vid. I don't know who you dare to defend it, but we're not defending nobody.
I'll do it just for fun. I think Robert Downey Jr. was okay in Tropic Thunder. Obviously, there's a lot. I don't know Jimmy Kimmel. I don't watch what he did. But if he just making fun of Karl Malone, I'm not. It's worse.
Yo, I low key had no problem with my man in Tropic Thunder.
I I'm sad to
I thought it
say.
was hilarious.
I'm sad to say. I agree with you.
I have to watch it first, but I'll defend it if he wants me to.
I'm sad to say I agree with y'all. That shit was hilarious.
I'm the dude playing this dude disguised as another dude. That's hilarious, man.
Yo,
I had to check Jimmy though. If he did it whack, because I think he was trying to make fun of Karl Malone. He might have went too far. But what about the blackface puppets though? Are those puppets blackface?
Nah, that shit. I ain't for that shit. So you never watched it? You said you never watched that?
I never seen Jimmy Kimmel's blackface. I seen like a picture of it. That's it. I never like seen it.
Keenan Kong says HB2A. You starting to sound like oh nah, we're not doing that. And HB2A says Keenan Kong says nah. Difference is I believe it starts with black men understanding, accepting history. Brooklyn Hunter says no doubt, Casey. Today was a weird show vibe.
Good looks, man. I didn't mean to come at you like that, man. My bad. I see what you said. I got the criticism. Like I just forgot I was cracking jokes earlier.
Nah, but you know, it's going to be bumps to the road. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. At the end of the day, I enjoy what I do. I'll come back to do it. You know what I'm saying? I think my panelists enjoy what they do. You know what I mean? I don't think they would come back if that was the case.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And you can't please all the people all of the time. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely is what it is. Keenan says Jimmy Kimmel, Karl Malone was hilarious. So what y'all think about what Howard Stern did when they had him and George Jefferson making fun of Whoopi Goldberg? You seen that one?
Yeah, I'm a Howard Stern fan, and he would OD. It was offensive. Like he would do the old Opie, like I don't know what the black people going to talk about. Like he was making fun of black people in a way black people don't even sound like since like 60 years ago. So, right. But in Howard Stern's, you know, he also made mad Holocaust jokes, mad jokes about Jews and ovens. So he was doing blackface and wild shit, but he was doing wild, disrespectful shit everywhere.
So you saying basically
not that makes any of it right? But
so basically, you're saying he didn't have no picks. He make jokes about whatever.
Mentally disabled people. He would have wild, quote unquote, retarded people just calling on his pen-off jokes. He used to have this wild, retarded KKK guy, Daniel Carver, calling all the time, and they used to just crack on him. So his show was just wild. But in retrospect, it looked awful and corny. And my shit is, at least with Robert Downey Jr., it didn't look like a straight mockery. My issue with blackface, especially when they do the big lips and it's straight mockery and dehumanizing, that's when I really have a problem. When it's like Jimmy Kimmel or not Jimmy Kimmel, when it's like my man Robert Downey Jr., it's acceptable.
I like the kind of bite off of what George Lopez says. A joke is really racist depending on whether or not if it's funny. Like that's really what it is, man. Like Tropic Thunder, it was brilliant the way they did it, the way they delivered it, and kind of made the whole thing of him doing it being like comical. I'm gonna say,
and also social commentary too. A little bit of social commentary.
Yeah. And then when you see just people Halloween, let me throw on blackface with the red lips and that's bad taste.
Yeah. And then a lot of times, like I think Casey, you said this before, you got the black voice thing now too. So you got this black voice where people just making these black voices, and there's certain cartoons guilty of it that we don't even chastise, and that shit. That shit don't, and that shit don't even be funny all the time. But they'll be doing these black voices, and it's like, yo, they got free range, free license to violate us when it comes to the cartoons, almost, because you don't see the white person doing the voice, but that's what it is. Magazine says Tropic Thunder was hilarious and very different than what Jimmy Kimmel did. Magazine says Kimmel did black body more than black face.
So did Robert Downey Jr.
Chris Jones says I didn't see that one. And Magazine says cancel culture is the monster they created. It's their own people calling them out, and it's a few like me making fun of it. I agree with that. They definitely created cancel culture, but it's because they needed it, because they didn't want to be associated with some of the horrible things they counterparts were doing. You know what I mean? But somebody like us that do a show like this, is hard for me to get at someone like a Howard Stern. But I did think that shit he did on Whoopi was a little too much. But at the same time, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like Redemption said, equal opportunity offender, Stern. So if you're going to make fun of your own, then you should be able to make fun of others, I guess. But you also got to be able to you can't tell people how to respond. So if somebody decide to, wild out, then you got to know you signed up for that, for the job.
Howard always did have Robin, and she'd be like a kind of respectable voice that would kind of check him when he wild out a little bit too. So there was at least one black voice on the Howard Stern show. You know what I'm saying? To kind of put things in balance.
I don't know if that's
not full balance,
but I mean, it's a salute to the relationship. Keenan Khan says, to me, it depends on where it's coming from. You can tell where it's coming from. You can tell when it's coming from an evil place. I agree with that as well. Keenan says, Howard Stern equals the GOAT. And Magazine says, joke all you want, but you go around throwing racism stones at others, and you are a hypocrite like Jimmy Kimmel and Joy. And then he goes, yeah, but Robert was playing a crazy white actor doing blackface for a role. He made fun of people who do that, like people who get it. What's that called, Casey? It's a certain type of acting method where they get into the character.
Method acting.
Yeah, method acting. They don't even want to not be in character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Redemption says Keenan agreed with both. I agree with both points. So, yo, this has been fun. It's been challenging at times, but what's hard to do makes life easier, and what's easy to do makes life harder. That's like, what's easy to do is get into trouble. What's hard to do is get out of it, right? So I love the fact that we still sticking with this. Season 2 coming soon. We're going to go up to episode 40 for the rest of the season. So we're going to do the rest of this week. What we're going to do today, tomorrow, and Friday. We got some special guests tomorrow. And then we're going to do Friday, of course. And we're going to come back next week with a couple episodes. And we're going to wrap it up at episode 40. And then we're going to step into October with some good news and season 2 of the Morning Rant. I'm just going to go to these last comments. Keenan says, Robin didn't really fuck with niggas, though.
Not sexually, at least.
And Redemption says, Keenan, okay, I said that already. And Magazine answered my question, method. So, I want to thank everybody that's been here on the check-in. You know what I'm saying? We watch the broadcast if you like, or share it. You know what I mean? I hate to be that guy, but, if your heart compels you, click the like button. You know what I'm saying? And thank you, Casey. Thank you, Steph. Thanks, Schoolboy and V, who had to get to work earlier. Schoolboy is already at work, but thank all my co-hosts, and we definitely will be back tomorrow, and of course Friday. And I have fun as usual, and I'll look forward to what the future brings. And this has been the Morning Rant.
Fire, nigga. I'm on fire right now, fuck, nigga. I had to finish comeback, nigga. Niggas thought it was over with for me, nigga. Y'all trying to count me out, nigga. I ain't forgot about that shit. Y'all niggas think I forgot, nigga. I ain't forgot about none of that shit. So I'm back with a chip on my fucking shoulder, nigga.
Wrote this with my eyes closed, or rose in Moscato. Intuition, inner visions flow from out the cosmos. Niggas ask me how I made it, I begin if I know. I just went with my soul, and the rest just follow. She's a good girl, fuck that bitch, I'd rather deal with dollars. Say no to CashApp, I ain't tricking, bitch, you must be psycho. But I'm prone to lie though, just don't tell all my bros. I spoke gelato in the Bronto, so I got the sky close. Damn, it's raining, grab my cane and pass my Prada poncho. The boots was leather with the tattoos, those the Randy Macho. Goggles, Ferragamo, condos big as Costco. I popped a rhino, then she swallowed like it's Mr. Sacco. Mirror, mirror, who's the illest? Please don't tell me I know. Mirror, mirror, who's the realest? Wait, don't tell me I know. Mirror, mirror, who's the rarest? Please don't tell me I know. Modern life like Rocco, but I still pray to Shango. Mirror, mirror, who's the illest? Please don't tell me I know. Mirror, mirror, who's the realest? Wait, don't tell me I know. Mirror, mirror, who's the rarest? Please don't tell me I know. I devour my goals, and that's word to Gaucho. Rebel, outlaw, reckless, vato, ghetto, desperado. Aim the Draco, eating tacos, take your breath like Tyclos. Adjacent to Van Gogh, I'm chasing my shadow. The pain is the shackle, embrace it for battle. In the gym for 7 weeks, I feel like Boris Kojo. I mean Cujo with a new hoe, sober watching Kuso. With my old hoe, I forgot I fuck my hoes in duos. 2-0 throws in 2 holes. Loopholes out with pool holes. That piece of coupon for designer Gucci coat was 2-tone. School old Parasuco. Shoot like Tony Kukoc. The Jama Samson, no Delilah. Put that on my tombstone. Mirror, mirror, who's the realest? Please don't tell me I know. Mirror, mirror, who's the realest? Wait, don't tell me I know. Mirror, mirror, who's the rarest? Please don't tell me I know. I devour my goals, and that's worth the gauchos. Grand rising, grand biscuits, magic wand waving grand wizards. If you my man, 100 grand in a grand missing. I got 99 problems, what's the damn difference? Listen, on my unborn grandkids, you know a nigga grown when a band is a bandage and the band keeps playing when you on a Titanic and your home network can't handle the bandwidth life's a damn bitch. Still love her though, raw sex pulling off the rubber slow. Rubber dub, that's a dry rub on the roast. Smells like burnt toast, you know I got a serious stroke. Periods broke like the levees. Flow on the mic kinda heavy. Got enough sauce for the spaghetti. Red hot chili pepper, order water under the bridge. I forgive niggas for wanting to live. I ain't mad at ya, I ain't the mad rapper. Just the mad dapper damn rather. Shimmy shimmy y'all like a capper. Somebody tell Boozy that I'm better. Vanilla extract in a batter. I ain't playing patty cake. I mean, how many patty pies can daddy bake? Mad I gotta save a slice for Sally Mae. May the odds ever be forever in your favor. Forever and a whole day later. Day to day, day traders. Daylight come for slave labor. Labor Day, labor pains getting paid straight up. Grand Rising, Grand Canyon, grandfather clock, grandstanding. You lucky if you got grandparents. Shit is Operation Grand Clearance. It's clandestine. Magazine, glam essence. 120 plan lessons from the ancestors. Fan blessings, hand-in-hand hand gestures, jam sessions, children asking damn questions, watching cartoons and wrestling. Grand Rising, Grand Central, Freemasons at the Grand Temple. All praises to the audacious, all-seeing eye, all patient. Call waiting for the hookup, cook up saltfish, just crooked how to pour, get rewarded with more risk. Fried dumpling, daily bread, top of the morning, getting daily head. Taking diabetic daily meds, sugar-free jelly spread. Crown Jewel got a heavy head. You got a headache from the Reggie Reg. Grand Rise, 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 Grand Rise.